Chapter 3963. Fang Chen's eyes lit up when he heard the words reincarnation sphere, and a smile appeared on his face. Others might not know, but he knew how important the reincarnation sphere was. Especially at this stage, it was extremely difficult to completely control the underworld's great ominous object. The reincarnation sphere was a timely help. Once he had the help of the reincarnation sphere, he could easily complete the third step and imprint his power on the underworld's great ominous object. At that time, the underworld's aura would completely disappear from the great ominous object and be replaced by his ultimate power. However, Fang Chen had some doubts. The reincarnation sphere was a precious treasure of the Jialuo tribe. Under normal circumstances, it was impossible for a tribesman to borrow it. Only the current patriarch and the elders of the Elder Council had the right to touch it. Given Elder Jiao Yuan's status, this was probably his first time touching the reincarnation sphere. The Jialuo tribe wasn't surprised to know that he had obtained the great ominous object of the underworld. After all, Elder Jiao Yuan and Jiao Ju might have already sent a message back. However, why would they lend such a precious item to an outsider? Did they really think that he was a member of the 9523B-19D branch of the Jialuo tribe? Fang Chen shook his head forcefully. Then, he collected his messy thoughts and focused his attention on the ferocious creature in the underworld. At this moment, he had already completed the first step. The second step was also progressing in an orderly manner. Hiss. 6 hours later, Fang Chen's body trembled violently. Then, an ecstatic smile appeared on his face. The war blade in front of him let out a resonant hum. The blade trembled and emitted a shocking power. Traces of ultimate power circled around the blade, as if it could enter the blade at any time. The second step was complete. Fang Chen was very excited. Elder Jiao Yuan had already arrived beside him with the reincarnation sphere in his hand. As long as he completed the second step, Elder Jiao Yuan would activate the reincarnation sphere. Reincarnation. Elder Jiao Yuan roared. Instantly, the reincarnation sphere in his hand emitted a white light. This light swept across the land in the blink of an eye and enveloped the entire courtyard. At this moment, the reincarnation sphere started to rotate. Violent reincarnation power escaped from it and rushed into the war blade. Hiss hiss hiss. The saber wanted to struggle, but it was useless. When Fang Chen saw this, he activated all the ultimate strength in his body and used the power of the reincarnation orb to force the saber. The mark of the underworld and the murderous aura in the saber had been completely refined. Although there was still a trace of the aura of the underworld left in the saber, it could not resist the invasion of the two powerful forces. It only lasted for 3 seconds before it ended in failure. When the ultimate force and the samsara force converged, there was an abnormally powerful vibration. It rushed into the saber in an unstoppable manner and immediately seized control of the saber. Meanwhile, Elder Jiao Yuan placed the reincarnation orb next to the warblade and let it attract the warblade's firepower. Fang Chen took advantage of this opportunity and began to use his ultimate power to destroy the internal structure of the warblade. An hour later, the ultimate strength penetrated the entire warblade. The internal structure of the warblade was completely destroyed, and Fang Chen had already constructed a new one. At this moment, Elder Jiao Yuan's throat moved. He spat out a mouthful of blood and weakly sat on the ground. The reincarnation orb gradually dimmed and returned to Elder Jiao Yuan's hand. It had completed its mission to help Fang Chen successfully control the underworld's most ferocious item. Seeing this, Elder Jiao Yuan was very happy. Elder Jiao Yuan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and softly asked, "Did you succeed?" Fang Chen suddenly opened his eyes and shot out 2 terrifying beams of light. He got up and walked to the front of the battle saber. His hand gripped the battle saber tightly. Suddenly, a powerful ultimate power surged within the battle saber. The battle saber did not seem to be resisting at all. It could not sense a trace of the underworld's aura. From this moment on, the aura of the underworld was completely expelled. The warblade was completely controlled by ultimate strength. Success, Fang Chen said with a smile. The warblade contained a trace of an opportunity to step into the supremacy realm. Without the obstruction of the underworld's aura, he could fully immerse himself in comprehending that trace of opportunity. Moreover, the warblade was once a ferocious item from the underworld. Whether it was the grade or the toughness, it was at the top level. It could be considered a powerful weapon. However, Fang Chen knew that after leaving the Cliff of Death, he would have to return the warblade to Princess Phoenix and let her bring it back to the primitive tribe. Therefore, he could only stay in the Jaluo tribe's camp and try to comprehend it as soon as possible. All right, time is precious. Try to comprehend it as soon as possible. I will return the reincarnation orb to the tribe. Elder Jiao Yuan cupped his fists and left the courtyard. Just as he walked out of the courtyard, Elder Jiao Yuan's body tilted and he almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, Jiao Ju came in time and supported him. Elder Jiao Yuan, are you all right? Elder Jiao Yuan shook his head. I just used the reincarnation orb and injured my internal organs. I will be fine after some rest. You came at the right time. Bring me to the ancestral hall. Jiao Ju supported Elder Jiao Yuan and stopped in front of the ancestral hall. All right, wait for me at the entrance. Elder Jiao Yuan staggered into the ancestral hall. Buzz. Elder Jiao Yuan released his power. Instantly, a large amount of reincarnation orbs surged out of the ancestral hall and gradually condensed into an illusory figure. Success. The illusory figure saw Elder Jiao Yuan and immediately asked if he had succeeded. I have succeeded. I will now return the reincarnation orb. Elder Jiao Yuan shook his wrist and the reincarnation orb left his hand and floated to the illusory figure. The latter swung his sleeve and kept the reincarnation orb. Then, the illusory figure began to dissipate. However, at this moment, Elder Jiao Yuan asked, why did the tribe lend the reincarnation orb to Fang Chen? This is the will of the tribe's upper echelons. Clearly, the illusory figure was unwilling to answer this question directly. I understand. Elder Jiao Yuan wanted to ask more, but after thinking about it, he shook his head. Continuing to ask wouldn't yield any results, so it was better not to ask. Since it was the will of the tribe, there had to be a reason. Don't try to guess the intentions of the tribe's upper echelons. Before the illusory figure dissipated, he gave Elder Jiao Yuan a deep look and warned him. Whoosh! The ancestral hall returned to silence. Elder Jiao Yuan fell into deep thought. Outside the ancestral hall, Jiao Ju anxiously paced back and forth. Elder Jiao Yuan's body was very weak, and he was worried that something would happen to him. However, he didn't have the right to enter the ancestral hall. What should I do? Jiao Ju stomped his foot. Creak. The doors of the ancestral hall opened, and Elder Jiao Yuan calmly walked out. The setting sun shone on his face, making him seem much older. Chapter 3964. Elder Jiao Yuan walked out of the ancestral shrine, looking tired. His face was pale, and he seemed to have aged a lot. He was bleeding from his 7 orifices, and his internal organs were damaged. He stumbled over to Jiao Ju. The latter's expression changed drastically when he saw this. He quickly supported Elder Jiao Yuan and asked, Elder Jiao Yuan, what's wrong? He was surprised that Elder Jiao Yuan was fine before he entered the ancestral shrine. Why was he like this when he came out? Could he have gone through a great battle in the ancestral shrine? Jiao Ju shook his head and rejected this idea. The ancestral shrine was built by the Jaluo clan's higher-ups. Its purpose was to allow the clan members in the core area to communicate with the clan. Ordinary people were not allowed to enter the ancestral shrine, and outsiders were not allowed to get close either. No one could sneak into the ancestral shrine. Thus, there was only one possibility. Elder Jiao Yuan had suffered a backlash when he used the reincarnation orb, and it had only manifested when he returned it. I'm fine. Elder Jiao Yuan shook his head. Although his situation was not optimistic, he was fine. His voice even contained a trace of desolation. He lifted his head and looked in the direction of Fang Chen's courtyard. A strange look flashed in the depths of his eyes. After which, he sighed softly, as if he was powerless to reverse the situation. Why is it like this? Finally, Elder Jiao Yuan returned to his residence to rest with Jiao Ju's help. However, after he came out of the ancestral shrine, he became unusually silent, as if he was a different person. Jiu was very curious. He wanted to know what had happened to Elder Jiu Yuan in the ancestral shrine, or what he had seen or learned. Otherwise, it would not have been like this. However, Elder Jiu Yuan still refused to speak under his relentless questioning. In the end, the matter was left unsettled. In an independent courtyard, Fang Chen sat cross-legged with his battle saber stabbed into the ground in front of him. Buzz. His body was filled with boundless energy, as if he was a god of war. Layers of ripples covered his body, making him look extremely powerful and domineering. After such a long period of cultivation and refinement, his physical body had already reached the limit below the Supreme Being level. Now, his ultimate power had also undergone a huge transformation. After comprehending the battle blade for a month, he was surprised to discover that his original 10 ultimate powers had actually become 15. What did this mean? This meant that he had taken a new step towards the 11th level saint realm. As a 10th order true saint, Huang Xiaolong was already so powerful. Huang Xiaolong was very curious. If he stepped into the 11th order true saint realm, to what extent would his battle prowess soar? It's hard to imagine how strong the warriors of the ancient civilization were. Fang Chen could not help but sigh. He only had a superficial understanding of the complete cultivation system of the ancient civilization. Even so, with his current strength, he was already considered a rare existence. It was difficult to find an opponent in the Saint realm, unless it was a top powerhouse who had touched the threshold of supremacy. However, in this age of doom, there were no such powerhouses. Even if there were, they wouldn't come out. Instead, they would cultivate in seclusion and break through to the primal chaos supreme realm. Of course, Fang Chen's greatest enemy was still the devouring demon tribe. This tribe was too strong and was born to destroy. There were countless experts in the tribe. So far, he had not fought against the top powerhouses of the devouring demon tribe. In particular, the legendary leader of the devouring demon tribe was a genuine primal chaos supreme realm expert. Once he came out of seclusion and Huang Xiaolong had not stepped into the primal chaos supreme realm, the entire primal chaos realm would be reduced to nothingness. That was not something that Huang Xiaolong wanted to see. Therefore, he could only do his best to improve his strength. For my family, for my wife and daughter, I must succeed. Fang Chen clenched his fists and his eyes flashed with determination. Buzz. At that moment, his primordial spirit at the Tao manifestation level resonated with the battle saber. The battle saber emitted a resonant saber hum. Immediately after, Fang Chen's body trembled. Immediately after, a powerful consciousness drilled into the battle saber. Dong dong dong. In the next moment, he seemed to see a whole new world. His entire being was immersed in the sea. There was a grey aura everywhere. He was immersed in it, trying his best to explore the world. What is this? Fang Chen vaguely felt that this was most likely the epitome of the primal chaos supreme realm. He seemed to have grasped something and madly attacked the grey mist, wanting to reach the end of the nirvana realm. However, he was blocked time and time again. He did not give up and kept trying. Time passed by slowly. In the blink of an eye, 300 years had passed. For an expert like Fang Chen, 300 years was just a snap of the fingers. During this period, Fang Chen had comprehended a small part of the mysteries of the battle blade. At the same time, his primordial spirit and the core of the battle blade had successfully built a bridge. As long as he was willing, he could enter the core to comprehend at any time. This also made his combat strength soar. Now, the ultimate power in his body had reached 90 strands. According to the records, the 11th level of the Saint realm needed to condense 100 strands of ultimate power. This meant that he was infinitely close to the 11th level of the Saint realm. Whoosh! At a certain moment, he slowly opened his eyes and exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi. There was a bright smile on his face. The benefits of 300 years of comprehension were too great. Tempering his physical body, tempering his primordial spirit, and condensing ultimate power were all important to him. He looked inwardly into his mind. In his primordial spirit, there was a white mark. This small mark was taken from the core part of the battle saber. After his research, this white mark was most likely left behind by a supreme being. In other words, as long as he completely refined the small mark, he would be able to touch the threshold of Supreme Being. Whoosh! Fang Chen stopped cultivating. The battle blade in front of him was dim and lifeless, like an ordinary long blade. Dust covered his body. Creak! The door opened and Princess Huang, dressed in a white dress, walked in. There was a faint smile on her fair face. You finally came out of seclusion. She had waited for 300 years. During this time, Princess Huang was worried that Fang Chen would be corroded by the great evil of the netherworld and lose his mind. But in the end, she was stopped by Elder Jiao Yuan. After returning from the ancestral shrine, Elder Jiao Yuan seemed to have a lot on his mind. It was as if he knew some unknown secret. Especially when he looked at Fang Chen, there was a complicated expression on his face. Fang Chen nodded. At this time, Jiao Ju walked in with Elder Jiao Yuan supporting him. After seeing Elder Jiao Yuan's condition, Fang Chen was puzzled. What happened? Why is Elder Jiao Yuan so weak? Please bookmark this site to read the latest. Chapter 3965. After 300 years of seclusion, he had gained a lot. He had even engraved the mark of a Supreme Being's aura into his Yuan spirit. As long as he was given enough time, he would definitely be able to completely refine the mark and touch the threshold of Supreme Being. Of course, this was a story for another day. Fang Chen had just walked out of the courtyard when he saw Elder Jiao Yuan, who looked tired and weak. He was very surprised. Why had Elder Jiao Yuan become like this after not seeing him for 300 years? Could it have something to do with him activating the transmigration orb to help him? Fang Chen immediately walked up and asked, Elder Jiao Yuan, what's wrong? You've come out of seclusion? Elder Jiao Yuan's expression was bleak. He smiled faintly and said, I'm fine. I just overused my energy. However, no one noticed the complicated look in Elder Jiao Yuan's eyes as he looked at Fang Chen. That kind of complicated look was hard to describe, and it seemed to contain a trace of disbelief and shock. Elder Jiao Yuan went to the ancestral shrine to return the transmigration orb. After he came out, he became like this, said Jiao Ju. He wasn't qualified to step into the ancestral shrine, so he didn't know what had happened to Elder Jiao Yuan. Why did he become so weak? It was as if he had aged dozens of years. Even his hair had turned white. I'm really fine. I just need to rest for a while. Elder Jiao Yuan waved his hand, indicating that he was really fine. Fang Chen's eyes darted around. In the end, he gave up asking. He vaguely sensed something, but he wasn't sure. How's your harvest? Asked Elder Jiao Yuan. I've completely refined this saber. We're ready to leave the cliff of death. As he spoke, Fang Chen took out the saber and showed it to Elder Jiao Yuan. After receiving the saber, Elder Jiao Yuan's heart trembled. This was a legendary demonic artifact. Moreover, it was one of the most ominous items in the netherworld. It contained an extremely powerful fiendish aura. If an ordinary person touched it, their Yuan spirit would be corroded and they would die. However, Fang Chen could completely refine the fiendish aura inside. As expected of, Elder Jiao Yuan thought of what had happened in the ancestral shrine. His expression changed, but he quickly returned to normal. Good saber. Elder Jiao Yuan laughed. At the same time, he also knew that this saber would be brought back to the primordial race by Princess Huang. Bringing it back to the primordial race is also good. At least the world won't have their eyes on you. In the beginning, Elder Jiao Yuan was indeed worried. If news of Fang Chen possessing a ghost artifact got out, the Origin World's devil-devouring tribe would definitely attack and snatch it away. At that time, he would have to fight alone and fall into a desperate situation. However, things were different now. Princess Huang had brought the ghost artifact back to the primitive tribes and announced it to the public. Perhaps no one would dare to go against a primitive clan, even if the Origin World belonged to the Devil Devourer clan. This way, Fang Chen would not be known by the world. Thank you for taking care of me all this time, Elder Jiao Yuan. Fang Chen cupped his fists and thanked the old man from the bottom of his heart. This old man had taken good care of him and truly treated him as a descendant of the great sovereign's lineage. Brother Fang, I'm a little reluctant, Jiao Ju said with a smile. After being together for such a long time, she really couldn't bear to part with him. "We will meet again in the future," Fang Chen said. In the end, Fang Chen and Princess Huang set off on their return journey. Elder Jiao Yuan and Jiao Ju stood in the Jialuo clan's encampment and watched until the two disappeared from their sight. "Jiao Ju." Suddenly, Elder Jiao Yuan said in a low voice, "From today onwards, you will break through the cycle of reincarnation. After that, you can go train in the mortal world." Jiao Ju was a little confused. Logically speaking, one needed the clan's approval to break through the cycle of reincarnation. Moreover, there was still a long time before his deadline. Why would Elder Jiao Yuan suddenly want him to break through the cycle of reincarnation? Elder Jiao Yuan. Jiao Ju still wanted to say something, but Elder Jiao Yuan stopped him. "You don't have to say much. The world is about to change. In the near future, the Jialuo clan's calamity will truly arrive. We all need to protect ourselves. Letting you train in the mortal world will also allow you to witness the rise of a powerhouse." The rise of a powerhouse? Why would he be allowed to witness it? Jiao Ju couldn't figure it out, but Elder Jiao Yuan didn't give him an answer. After the battle for the ghost weapon came to an end, the core area gradually calmed down. Those special clans were hibernating in the dark, waiting for an opportunity to rise again. At a glance, it was lush and green, but there wasn't a single person in sight. With the Jialuo clan guarding this place, no one would dare to cause trouble. After passing through the barrier, Fang Chen and Princess Huang returned to the Cliff of Death. The environment here was worlds apart compared to the core area. At a glance, there was smoke everywhere. Countless ghostly wails and howls could be heard throughout the land. The ground was littered with corpses. One could tell that life and death battles would break out in the Cliff of Death every day. Countless cultivators would be slumbering here forever. To this, Fang Chen was already used to it. In his mind, the Cliff of Death was a place of trouble. Soul River. Fang Chen thought of the Soul River and Lungxian. Back then, when he had just entered the Cliff of Death and was unable to move a single step, it was Lungxian who had given him the greatest help and even allowed him to temper himself. Who would have thought that when he came out of that isolated space, he would discover that Senior Lungxian had fallen into the Soul River? Back then, he had said that one day, he would avenge Lungxian. He clenched his fists and a cold look flashed across his eyes. Immediately, he brought Princess Huang and rushed towards the Soul River. At this moment, there were some strange figures by the Soul River. They were looking at it from afar. "The Soul River has completely calmed down," someone said. "What happened to the Soul River storm? What's the background of that figure in the Soul River?" Just as everyone was discussing, the leader waved his sleeves and walked to the Soul River. He stretched out his hand and touched the water of the Soul River. Immediately, layers of ripples appeared on the surface of the Soul River. With his hand as the center, the ripples kept spreading downwards until they reached the bottom of the Soul River. The leader closed his eyes and sensed it seriously. After a while, he suddenly opened his eyes. His lips curled up, revealing a smile. "Our chance is here." After the chaos of the Soul River, the corrosiveness of the Soul River seemed to have weakened. Most importantly, he could vaguely sense a path that led to the bottom of the Soul River. The water of the Soul River on this path seemed to be affected by some special aura and could not close. This gave them an opportunity to take advantage of. "Boss, you are?" The others were excited. Looking at the Soul River, they were eager to give it a try. At the same time, Fang Chen and Princess Huang also came to the Soul River. He followed them from a distance and saw the people of these special clans by the Soul River. Seeing this, Fang Chen frowned, seemingly unhappy. Please bookmark this site to read the latest. Chapter 3966. With Fang Chen's current strength, he could see a beautiful figure in the thick light at the bottom of the Soul River at a glance. Lungxian, the woman who had once helped him and loved Supreme Fu Jian, had now fallen into the cold Soul River alone. Fang Chen's heart trembled. However, after hearing their words, Fang Chen was enraged. Senior Lungxian was his benefactor, and at the same time, he was also an almighty sage of the Chaos Realm. Now that he was offended by a few juniors, he immediately showed himself. Boom! A terrifying power swept through the world and instantly spread out. Fang Chen and Princess Huang appeared by the Soul River. This sudden change caused the group of people to be somewhat stunned. After a brief moment of surprise, one of them coldly asked, "Brat, who are you?" Fang Chen didn't say anything. He continued, "Do you know where this is? Where is this place?" Princess Huang asked. "H, this is the Soul River and also the territory of our young master." This person said arrogantly, "Usually, many people have their eyes on the Soul River, but they were all killed by us. If you don't want to die, hurry up and get lost." Princess Huang still wanted to say something, but she was stopped by Fang Chen. He looked at everyone calmly and flicked his finger. Immediately, a ray of light drilled into the Soul River. Everyone was puzzled. What did he mean? But in the next moment, they understood. The light that drilled into the Soul River swept up a drop of the Soul River's water and returned to the shore, directly hitting the person who spoke earlier. Ah! A miserable scream came from this person's body. His body began to weaken and his primordial spirit was attacked. He kept begging for help, "Young master, save me." However, it was already too late. The attack of the Soul River's water was something that ordinary people couldn't resist at all, let alone be caught off guard. Bang! In the end, the primordial spirit of the arrogant person was corroded and then collapsed. He died completely and fell into a pool of blood. You can't even resist a drop of the Soul River's water, and you still dare to call yourself the owner of this place? Fang Chen said. The brocade-robed man, who was addressed as young master, stared at Lu Chen with a gloomy expression and said in a cold voice, "Brat, are you here to pick a fight? Is the Soul River a place you can come to?" Fang Chen sneered. "Senior Lungxian has a noble status. How can you blaspheme her?" As soon as he finished speaking, Fang Chen attacked. He held the blade of the underworld in his hand. Using the blade as a sword, he performed the ultimate sword technique. In an instant, thick blade lights appeared in the void. These blade lights quickly turned into sword lights under the effect of the ultimate power. They pierced toward the crowd as fast as lightning. Courting death. The young master didn't expect that Fang Chen would dare to make the first move. He was simply courting death. Boom! Boom! Everyone was furious. They attacked like lightning, wanting to kill Fang Chen. However, when they came in contact with the sword light that was swooping down from the sky, they were instantly shocked. Poochie. Some of the weaker people couldn't resist the ultimate sword technique at all. They were directly pierced by the sword light and fell into a pool of blood. Only a few people managed to block the sword light. They were in a very sorry state. Boom! 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 The young master dressed in luxurious clothes sent the sword light beside him flying with a punch. His eyes burned with anger as he glared at Fang Chen. "Who exactly are you? I have no enmity with you. Why do you want to kill my people?" He began to feel a little guilty. The other party was too strong. With just one move, they had suffered such heavy casualties. If they continued to fight, their lives would be lost here. As long as there was life, there was hope. Moreover, the forces behind them couldn't come out for the time being. They needed to find an opportunity. Under such circumstances, no one could save him, so he could only save himself. "No enmity with you," Fang Chen said. "If we were switched, and you were strong and I was weak, what would you do?" Obviously, they would definitely treat them more cruelly than Fang Chen. Moreover, most importantly, they called the Soul River their own territory and blasphemed against Senior Lungxian. This was a capital offense. No one could blaspheme against Senior Lungxian. What happened before was our fault. You also killed many of our people. Let's forget about this matter. How about it?" The man in the brocade robe admitted defeat. "Forget about it." Fang Chen nodded. "Of course, but I have a condition." The man in the brocade robe was overjoyed. No matter what the condition was, he had to agree to save his life first. Then, he would make plans. "Ch, I'll let you be happy for now. When the forces behind me come out, I will definitely turn you into ashes. Exchange your life for it," Fang Chen said. As soon as these words came out, The man in the brocade robe's smile froze. It was replaced by anger. You played us. You were the one who wanted to let it go, and I agreed. Unfortunately, you can't fulfill my condition. Then, regretfully, the massacre will continue. Young master, we can just fight with him. I don't believe that he can be so strong alone. One of them said angrily. Obviously, he was completely angered by Fang Chen's words. That's right. After all, he is alone and there are so many of us. When we fight later, we will hold him back. Young master, you can just run. For them, as long as they could save their young master's life, they would have completed their mission. You can try. Lu Chen shrugged. Kill. The man in the brocade roared. Since there was no compromise, they could only fight to the death. Under his command, everyone rushed towards Fang Chen. He took the opportunity to escape. Pucci. Another blade. It was an extremely terrifying blade that directly divided the battlefield into two. At the same time, Fang Chen flicked his wrist and threw out the war blade. Although the murderous aura and the mark of the underworld had been refined, it still came from the underworld. Its power was unimaginable. The war blade seemed to have a spirit as it aimed at the young master. It drew a strange arc and chased after him. As for Fang Chen, he rushed into the battlefield and started a massacre. Pucci. Miserable screams came from the battlefield one after another, accompanied by corpses that fell into a pool of blood. Boom. When the last punch was thrown, all the servants brought by the man in the brocade robe were dead. Blasphemy against Senior Lung Xian. You deserve to die. Fang Chen was not willing to let their corpses and blood pollute Senior Lung Xian's senses. With a wave of his hand, a scorching flame burned the corpses. After a while, the Soul River returned to normal. There were only traces of battle on the ground. The blood and corpses had long been refined. That fellow. Princess Huang wanted to ask if the young master in luxurious clothes would bring them trouble if he escaped. Who would have thought? In the distant sky, a black light burst out. Taking a closer look, he saw that it was a human figure with a saber stuck in his chest. The war blade of the underworld had brought the young master back. Princess Huang's mouth was wide open. Was the war blade of the underworld so powerful? She turned to look at Fang Chen. The latter was very calm. Everything was under his control. Primordial Sword Lord. Chapter 3967. The battle saber pierced through the heavens and earth, bringing the young master back. At this moment, his entire body was covered in blood. His face was pale and his chest was pierced through by the battle saber. His internal organs were shattered and his vitality was disappearing. His eyes were filled with endless fear. He would never forget the fear of the battle saber piercing into his body. What is that? He couldn't figure it out. The moment the battle saber pierced into his body, his entire body became sluggish. Most importantly, an evil aura invaded his mind and destroyed his primordial spirit. Catcher. Fang Chen pulled out his battle saber and the young man died instantly. However, before he died, he glared fiercely at Fang Chen and left behind a ruthless sentence. The power behind me won't let you off. Originally, he wanted to beg for mercy but Fang Chen didn't give him any chance and directly ended his life. This scene made Princess Huang speechless. She didn't expect the battle saber of the underworld to be so powerful. Who are they? Princess Huang asked. She was extremely curious about the identity of these people. What kind of power was behind them? In the age of chaos, the heavens and earth changed greatly. All kinds of ancient powerhouses who had been sleeping for billions of years woke up one after another. Even a top clan like the Jaluo clan was worried about a calamity. Let alone the other clans. She was prepared to go back this time and ask her master properly to see if her master knew anything. Princess Huang's gaze landed on Fang Chen. The two of them had been here before and even entered the bottom of the Soul River. Moreover, they had profited from a disaster and obtained her mother's inheritance. Thinking of her mother's statue shattering, a trace of ripple appeared in Princess Huang's heart. Her mother had chosen a son-in-law for her but she didn't know how to say it. Looking at Fang Chen's tall and straight back, Princess Huang even felt that it was pretty good to keep looking at him like this. I don't know. Fang Chen kept the battle saber and looked solemn. Let's not care about them first. Let's see if we can save Senior Lungxian. Senior Lungxian had a great debt of gratitude to Fang Chen. If it wasn't for her, Fang Chen might have died in the death cliff. Moreover, when Fang Chen accidentally entered the Jialuo clan's Forbidden Road and returned to the end of the Reincarnation Road in the Chaos World, the Great Sovereign had told him that Lungxian and Supreme Fu Jian had an unclear relationship. No matter what, she was a genuine person from the Chaos World. Wang. Fang Chen came to the Soul River. He stretched out his palm and gently pressed it on the Soul River. In the next moment, the entire Spirit River shook violently as a terrifying corrosive energy drilled into his body. However, he was no longer the same as he was in the past. After stepping into the 10th level True Saint realm, his combat strength had skyrocketed. The ultimate force in his body easily resisted the corrosive energy. Dong. Fang He took a deep breath and then made a bold decision. He jumped into the Soul River. You stay here and guard. Don't let anyone come near. Fang Chen's voice entered Princess Huang's ears. Immediately after, Princess Huang saw the surface of the Soul River stirring up waves after waves. Splash! Fang Chen entered the Soul River. Over 90 strands of ultimate force were fully activated. They surrounded his body, protecting him as he moved forward. No matter how strong the corrosive power of the Soul River was, it was helpless against ultimate force. Because of this, Fang Chen easily dived into the Soul River and came to the light ball. In the grey light ball, there was a beautiful figure sitting cross-legged. Her snow-white skin was exposed and there was no trace of clothes on her body. However, the grey light ball blocked all sight. Fang Chen could vaguely see a silhouette. He hurriedly turned around and said apologetically, Senior Lungxian, Junior has come to save you. Lungxian was still like a walking corpse, motionless as if she had lost her primordial spirit. Senior Lungxian! Fang Chen shouted. At the same time, he flicked his finger and a vast ultimate force shot out. It passed through the grey light ball and entered Lungxian's body. At this moment, a sad voice came from Lungxian's body. You can't save me. This was Lungxian's voice. Her body was imprisoned here. After her primordial spirit was baptized and stimulated by Fang Chen's ultimate force, she had a trace of consciousness. She was touched when she found that Fang Chen had risked his life to save her. When she first met Fang Chen, she had a good impression of him. She sensed a trace of Supreme Fu Jian's aura from him. Lungxian chose to help Fang Chen. Now, the little guy under her protection had grown up. She was very gratified. Senior Lungxian, what should I do? Fang Chen couldn't help but ask. If possible, he would do his best to save Senior Lungxian. Even if he had to pay a heavy price, he wouldn't hesitate. Sigh. A sad voice came out of Lungxian's body. She let out a sigh and said, he once came to the Soul River. I'm just trying to follow his footsteps. Fang Chen was startled. He immediately realized that Senior Lungxian was referring to Supreme Fu Jian. The Soul River is much more complicated than people think. Moreover, there are many secrets involved here, including information about him. I came here willingly, using my body as the price to make a deal with the Soul River. You don't have to worry about me. Fang Chen was astounded upon hearing this. Traded with the Soul River? Did the Soul River still have its own consciousness? Or did the Soul River have a master? Fang Chen recalled the mansion in the whirlpool at the bottom of the Soul River, and everything inside it. Phoenix, the princess's mother, who was also an expert of the primitive tribes, had built a mansion at the bottom of the Soul River. Such a grand construction was surely significant. Could it be that the master of the Soul River was the primitive tribes? He thought of what the old white ape of the White Ape clan had said to him. The primitive tribes had ordered their subordinate tribe, the White Ape clan, to follow the experts of the Chaos Realm and migrate to the Chaos Realm. However, they failed for some reason later. What was the connection between the two? Fang Chen racked his brains, but he couldn't figure it out. Lungxian's voice came out of the grey light again. You have a heavy responsibility on your shoulders. No matter what happens, don't let your emotions affect your decisions. I'm fine in the Soul River. Although I'll fall asleep, I'll wake up eventually. Lung Xian said. It seemed to involve Supreme Fujian's secrets, and she didn't want to talk about them. She didn't even want to tell Fang Chen, Supreme Fujian's successor. Senior Lung Xian. Fang Chen called out. He was moved to see that Lung Xian was willing to fall into the Soul River forever for the person she loved. Let's go. Lung Xian said softly, as if she was an old woman talking to her junior. End of chapter. Chapter 3968. Lung Xian's voice was very gentle, as if she was talking to her own junior. She asked Fang Chen to leave this place and not bother about her. Baidu search, however, Fang Chen did not want to leave just like that. Even though his back was facing Lung Xian, he could still feel the extreme coldness. He did not want to see Lung Xian continue to be tortured here. He wanted to save her. Go, don't bother about me. There will be a day when I will be born again. Lung Xian's voice rang out again. Immediately after, Fang Chen felt a strong force pushing his body out of the Soul River. At the same time, Lung Xian's ethereal voice rang in his ears, "Live well. You shoulder the task of saving the living beings of the chaos world." As her voice fell, Lung Xian's aura gradually dissipated until it disappeared. Fang Chen stood on the shore of the Soul River, looking down at the Soul River. However, at this moment, the surface of the Soul River was gradually frozen. A layer of frost enveloped it, making it impossible for people to see what was happening below the Soul River. Only Fang Chen knew that all of this was probably because of Lung Xian. What was she doing? Could it be that Supreme Master Fu Jian had left something in this Soul River? No matter what, this was Senior Lung Xian's own choice. He could not say anything, but he was worried for Senior Lung Xian. How is it? Seeing Fang Chen coming out of the Soul River, Princess Huang hurried over and asked. Fang Chen shook his head and remained silent. Princess Huang's expression changed. She did not know how to comfort Fang Chen. After a long time, Fang Chen collected his thoughts and bowed deeply to the frozen Soul River, saying, "Senior Lung Xian, I will not let you down." After saying that, he left the Cliff of Death with Princess Huang without looking back. Dong. The moment Fang Chen left the Cliff of Death, the heavy force that shrouded the Cliff of Death instantly disappeared. Those martial artists who were hiding in the dark heaved a sigh of relief. Although they did not know what had happened, their instincts told them that the crisis had been resolved. Next, there would be a large number of opportunities. The recovered experts also stood at every corner of the Cliff of Death, looking at Fang Chen's back as he left. Some of the Almighty Realm experts already knew that Fang Chen was the legendary person who had obtained the complete cultivation system of the ancient civilization. Moreover, he had already stepped into the 10th Order True Saint realm. His combat strength was so strong that he could easily crush a 9th Order True Saint realm expert. Therefore, even though they knew that he had obtained the Netherworld's most ominous item, none of them dared to make a move. On a hill, Great Emperor Mier stood with his hands behind his back. His expression was solemn as he looked in the direction where Fang Chen had disappeared. Then, he turned to look at the Soul River. There was someone he loved deeply there. In another area, Xing Wang and the others were also smiling. Fang Chen's sudden appearance had shattered everyone's understanding of martial arts cultivation. Perhaps soon, a chaotic supremacy would be born to fight against the Devouring Demon Clan. The Devouring Demon Clan is too cruel and perverted. They want to refine the heavenly Tao. They will suffer a backlash in the end. Xing Wang muttered to himself. He had met Fang Chen once. Moreover, they were both from the chaotic world. He naturally thought highly of Fang Chen and was happy for him from the bottom of his heart. The three old men who had fought side by side with Fang Chen looked at each other. He has left. Let's go into seclusion. If we can't step into the chaotic supremacy realm, what's the point of living? Old man Xiao said solemnly. This time, the three of them had made up their minds to reach the highest realm of martial arts. In particular, after experiencing the process of fighting side by side with Fang Chen, they realized that the 9th Order True Saint realm was just SOSO. If they couldn't reach the chaotic supremacy realm, they would eventually turn into a pile of yellow soil and disappear with the wind. Okay, let's go into seclusion. After Fang Chen had taken away the underworld's most ferocious creatures, the Death Cliff regained its calm. The days of being filled with the aura of death were gone forever. Many of the awakened experts chose to go into seclusion to break through to a higher realm. There were also some who chose to explore the world. At this time, Fang Chen and Princess Huang were already far away from the death cliff. Phew! They stopped and turned around to look at the death cliff behind them. They breathed a sigh of relief. We came out alive. Princess Huang smiled faintly. Even she didn't expect that they could walk out of the death cliff alive. Of course, what shocked her the most was definitely Fang Chen. They met in the Flying Phoenix mountain range and fought side by side. Fang Chen was accidentally thrown into the turbulent space by the Ghost Manor Lord. At that time, she thought that the latter was already dead. She didn't expect to meet him again at the death cliff. In the end, not only did the two successfully obtain the ghost tool, but they also came out unscathed. Princess Huang rejoiced. I have already informed Master. Soon, he will come to pick me up. Princess Huang said with a smile. Fang Chen nodded. Let's go. We will go to the city to find out more information. The two came to the nearest city. It was bustling with noise and excitement. There were hawking sounds everywhere. After asking around, the two found out that the outside world had undergone earth-shattering changes during the few hundred years they were in the Death Cliff. First was the Devouring Devil clan. The four great saint lands had given a clear order for all the members of the Devouring Devil clan to search for heaven and earth rare treasures. It was rumored that the Devouring Devil clan's clan leader had encountered some problems in his cultivation and needed heaven and earth rare treasures to fix it. This was good news for Fang Chen. However, the more it was like this, the more Fang Chen felt that time was pressing. He had to increase his strength as soon as possible. Ghost Manor. Of course, they also heard an important piece of information. That was the Ghost Manor. It was said that the Ghost Manor's territory was once shrouded in black fog. No one could get close to it. The surrounding manors didn't dare to explore it. The Ghost Manor Lord had mysteriously disappeared. Ghost Manor. Fang Chen frowned. He had been to the Ghost Manor before. That place felt eerie and terrifying. It was very evil. Could it be that the legend is true? At this time, Fang Chen thought of a legend. He guessed that the Ghost Manor was most likely the entrance to the Netherworld. Black fog shrouded the Ghost Manor. Could it be that the entrance to the Netherworld had opened? Could it be that the Netherworld is enraged because we are fighting for the ghost artifact? Hence, the Netherworld is shrouded in black fog and wants to come out. Princess Huang said. Fang Chen nodded. There was such a possibility. However, he guessed that it would be difficult for the Netherworld to enter the origin world. Otherwise, they would have invaded long ago. It seems that there are some unknown secrets hidden in the Netherworld. Fang Chen muttered to himself. Several days later, Princess Huang's master came to the city and met with the two of them. He was full of praise for Princess Huang. He also admired Fang Chen. However, because of the primitive clan, he couldn't bring outsiders back. He could only bring Princess Huang back. I'm sorry. Princess Huang said apologetically. Fang Chen shrugged. He didn't care too much about this. He handed the ghost artifact to Princess Huang and said, For you, little friend, I have to thank you this time. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to bring the ghost artifact out. Primordial Sword Lord. Chapter 3969. Princess Huang's master brought her away. Although Princess Huang was very reluctant, there was no other way. There were more important things waiting for her, especially the trip to the Cliff of Death. She went to the bottom of the Soul River, entered the cave, and obtained the inheritance left behind by her mother. From that moment onwards, she was truly accepted by the primitive race and became a member of the primitive race. Her master brought her back. In addition to dealing with the ghost weapon, there was a more important matter, and that was to acknowledge her ancestors. On the way, Princess Huang was expressionless, but there were waves in her heart. Her mind was filled with images of Fang Chen. What's wrong? Do you miss him? The old man asked. Master, Mother chose a husband for me. She really wanted to confide in him. Only in front of her master could she be so relaxed. But have you ever thought that you are a member of the primitive race and he is just an ordinary human? The primitive race had a rule, and that was to prohibit intermarriage with other races. Of course, even without this rule, they couldn't intermarry with other races. Because there were people in the race who had tried, and in the end, it ended in death. The blood flowing in the body of the primitive race was abnormally powerful. How many people in the world could withstand it? Once they intermarried, they would be seriously injured or even die. Princess Huang lowered her head. Her hair covered her face, and she remained silent. My good disciple, you will know in the future. The old man sighed. In the city, Fang Chen wasn't in a hurry to leave. The ghost weapon had already been handed over to Princess Huang to be brought back to the primitive race. The task given to him by the old white ape could be considered completed. Now, he was only one step away from the 11th level of the Saint Realm. He wanted to improve his strength as much as possible. Of course, in addition, he also wanted to make a trip to the life-forbidden zone to see the old white ape. However, at this moment, suddenly, countless people rushed to the square from the street. Fang Chen was a little stunned, but soon he heard the voice of the waiter. Someone caught 3 white apes. After listening, Fang Chen was slightly stunned. 3 white apes, and from the description of the waiter, why did it feel like the 3 white ape brothers? He hurriedly got up and walked to the square. When he arrived at the square, it was already packed with people. He squeezed in with great difficulty. When his gaze landed on the square, he was instantly stunned. The 3 white ape brothers, who were cultivating with him, had their powers shackled. They were locked in a cage like animals, allowing everyone to watch them. A burly man stood next to the cage. He held a battle axe in his hand and grinned. Everyone, these 3 white apes aren't simple. They all possess the battle prowess of a 9th level Sage Realm expert. I fought with them for 7 days and 7 nights before I managed to suppress them. Heavenly armor is really powerful. It's a 9th order Saint Realm white ape. It's a pity that he met Heavenly Helm Tian Hu. A regretful voice came from the crowd. As everyone knew, Man Tianhu had a hobby, and that was to collect demon pets. As long as any demon clan fell into his hands, their powers would be sealed, and they would be at his mercy. Although the 3 white apes were strong, they were still no match for Helmut Tianhu. The latter was in this city. He was very famous. Almost no one dared to provoke him. Every time he hunted a demon pet, he would put it on the plaza for everyone to watch. This was his hobby. Roar. The 3 white apes roared angrily, but it was to no avail. Their powers were sealed, and they couldn't move at all. They could only be at his mercy. Last time, Heavenly Armor seemed to have captured a member of the 9 Serenities Python clan as a demon pet, which angered the 9 Serenities Python clan. They even sent experts, but Heavenly Armor beat them away. Yes, many demon clans have a headache because of Heavenly Armor. In the crowd, Fang Chen's eyes were filled with coldness. He didn't know why the 3 white apes had left the Forbidden Zone, but the most important thing now was to rescue them. Is Heavenly Armor very powerful? Fang Chen murmured. Although his voice was soft, everyone around heard it. They looked at Fang Chen with disdain and said, "Boy, is this your first time here? You haven't even heard of Heavenly Armor? Temph, you're obviously a country bumpkin. Is Heavenly Armor someone you can talk about? Trash like you only relies on claptrap to attract attention." Many people expressed their disgust for Fang Chen and retreated, unwilling to be associated with him. Heavenly Armor. Fang Chen ignored everyone's disgust and suddenly roared. Suddenly, the noisy plaza quieted down. Even Hai Tianhu was stunned. Is this guy crazy? He dares to call Heavenly Armor by his name? It's over. When Heavenly Armor is showing his demon pets, he hates being interrupted the most. The moment the 3 white apes in the cage saw Fang Chen, their eyes were filled with joy and they shouted, "This guy is dead. Boy, do you want to die?" Heavenly Armor said angrily. He was introducing the 3 demon pets to everyone, but this guy interrupted him. Fang Chen took a step forward and came to the center of the plaza. He narrowed his eyes at Heavenly Armor. Everything in this world has its own life. The human race is the same, the demon race is the same, and the devouring devil race is the same. If you play with the demon race like this and fall into the hands of others one day, will you also be played by others? Everyone was shocked. Heavenly Armor froze for a moment, then grinned. Who do you think you are? What right do you have to order me around? Fang Chen pointed at the 3 white apes in the cage and said calmly, "These 3 are my good friends. I'll give you a chance. Let them go, and I won't pursue the matter of you playing with them." Good friends? Won't pursue? Heavenly Armor was amused. No one had ever dared to speak to him like this. You want me to let them go? Based on what? Based on the fact that I can control your life and death, Fang Chen said. He was already infinitely close to the 11th level of the Saint Realm. In his eyes, Heavenly Armor was nothing. He couldn't even be bothered to make a move. Control my life and death. Heavenly Armor laughed wildly. He spread out his hands and looked at everyone. What do you think? Idiot, quickly kneel in front of Heavenly Armor and beg for mercy. Kneel. Everyone shouted. Heavenly Armor pointed at everyone and said, obviously, you don't understand the current situation. You said that you can control my life and death. Have you ever thought that I can crush you as easily as crushing an ant? He looked down at Fang Chen with a condescending attitude, his face full of disdain. Fang Chen ignored Heavenly Armor and walked to the cage. He opened it and released the 3 white apes. He then prepared to remove the restrictions on their bodies. 999 First Impudent. Doing something like this under his nose was simply provoking him. Boom. Heavenly Armor punched out. A vast fist shadow pierced through the sky and blasted towards Fang Chen. Crack. The cage couldn't withstand the terrifying power and exploded. Fang Chen and the 3 white apes were unharmed. Fang Chen, the Star and Moon. Chapter 3970. Hailu Tianhu stood high above, looking down at Fang Chen. He was slightly shocked. Who was this person? He had never heard of such a person in the Sage Realm in the city. Although his previous attack was casual, the power it contained wasn't something an ordinary 9th-level Sage Realm martial artist could withstand. However, not only did Fang Chen block his attack, but he also used the force of his attack to break the cage. This method was enough to shock him. Why are you guys here? Fang Chen ignored Hailu Tianhu and looked at the 3 white apes. They should be in the life-forbidden zone. Brother, we were ordered by our grandfather to go to the Cliff of Death to help you. This despicable and shameless bastard. He tricked us 3 brothers and captured us here. If we weren't worried about your safety, we wouldn't have been caught by this guy. The 3 brothers were furious. However, they were worried about Fang Chen's safety, which was why they fell into his trap. Thank you for your hard work. Fang Chen tapped their bodies a few times, and the shackles in their bodies were released. The 3 brothers held their heads high and stared angrily at Hailu Tianhu. Old man, we were tricked by you last time. This time, we'll settle the score. Hailu Tianhu snorted and stared at Fang Chen. Fang Chen waved his hand, indicating for the 3 brothers to step back. Leave it to me. You guys take a rest and watch the show. The 3 brothers wanted to say something, but they gave up when they saw the determination in Fang Chen's eyes. Be careful. This guy is a little strange. The 3 brothers warned. You're courting death. Seeing this, Gong Tianhu roared furiously and suddenly slammed his palm down. Vast power covered the palm and smashed into Fang Chen's body as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Crack. However, when the dust settled, everyone was shocked to see that Fang Chen didn't move at all. His clothes weren't torn, and there was a layer of golden light on the surface of his skin that easily blocked Hailu Tianhu's attack. Hailu Tianhu's face changed. He wanted to withdraw his palm, but it was too late. You want to leave? Fang Chen sneered. He took out his sword and performed the ultimate sword technique. Whoosh. The moment the sword was unleashed, heaven and earth shook. The ultimate sword ART's power was unparalleled, and with Fang Chen's 10th order true Saint Realm battle prowess, no matter how strong Quan Tianhu was, he was no match for Fang Chen. In the blink of an eye, Fang Chen's sword pierced through Hailu Tianhu's body, causing him to let out a miserable cry. Boom. Hai Tianhu's body heavily smashed into the ground. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his face was pale. His eyes were filled with fear. "Who are you?" Hailu Tianhu asked in horror. This person's battle prowess was too strong. He could completely crush him. So strong. The three white ape brothers were stunned. They smiled bitterly. Just a moment ago, they had warned Fang Chen to be careful. Who would have thought that his battle prowess had already reached such a terrifying level? This guy is sick. When the three white ape brothers had cultivated with Fang Chen in the life-forbidden zone, they had already known how sick he was. However, they had not expected him to grow to such a level after a few hundred years. Even their grandfather might not be a match for him. To be able to easily crush a ninth-order true Saint Realm expert like Hailu Tianhu, in the entire origin world, unless the primal chaos sovereign intervened, no one would be a match for him. The onlookers were also filled with shock as they tried to guess Fang Chen's identity. Crash. Hailu Tianhu knew that he was no match for Fang Chen and immediately tried to escape. However, how could he escape from Fang Chen's grasp? All they saw was Fang Chen slashing his sword at the void. The sword light instantly pierced through the heavens and earth and struck Hailu Tianhu's body, sending him flying. "Brother, please show mercy." All of a sudden, the three white ape brothers cried out. Fang Chen was puzzled. At this moment, the three white ape brothers voiced their request. "This old guy likes to collect demonic pets and show them to the world. Let's give him a taste of his own medicine. We'll turn him into a demonic pet and lock him in a cage for everyone to see. What do you think?" "All right, I'll leave it to you." Fang Chen flicked his finger and a bright light drilled into Hailu Tianhu's body. The latter screamed and instantly lost his ability to fight. Then, he watched as the three white ape brothers threw him into a cage and chained him up, turning him into a demonic pet. "You!" Hailu Tianhu roared in anger. However, his cultivation had been crippled by Fang Chen. He did not even have the ability to commit suicide. He felt endless humiliation. Everyone in the square was dumbfounded. Hailu Tianhu, who was so arrogant just a moment ago, was now locked in a cage. Wasn't this too exaggerated? Soon, everyone in the city knew about Hailu Tianhu's situation. Many people rejoiced in his misfortune. This damned demon had finally been executed. However, 3 days later, a person came to the square and faced Fang Chen. "Brother, no matter what, Hailu Tianhu is still a 9th-level Saint Realm powerhouse. What you're doing is a bit too much." This person had delicate features and looked like a scholar. However, Fang Chen felt that he was full of killing intent. This person was not simple. "Why didn't you show up when he treated us as demonic pets and showed us to the world?" The three white ape brothers said coldly. "Now that he's being countered by us, you're pretending to show up." The scholar frowned. "Brother, Hailu Tianhu and I have some friendship. Can you let him go for my sake?" "Who do you think you are? Why should I?" The three white ape brothers were annoyed. They hated Hailu Tianhu. This person was pleading for Hailu Tianhu, which meant that he was an accomplice. The scholar took out a token from his arms that shone with a white light. The moment he saw the token, Fang Chen was stunned. He immediately asked, "Where did you get this token?" "Let Hailu Tianhu go and I'll give you the token and tell you everything you want to know," the scholar said with a smile. Fang Chen nodded and motioned for the three white ape brothers to let Hailu Tianhu go. Although the three of them were unwilling, they still let him go. Bang! Hailu Tianhu was kicked to the front of the scholar. The latter kept his promise and threw the token to Fang Chen. He then said, "This token comes from the Great Snow Mountain." With that, he left with Hailu Tianhu. Before he left behind a ruthless sentence. Everyone has to pay the price for their impulsiveness. This sentence that was full of killing intent echoed in the void. "Brother." The three white ape brothers were puzzled and asked in confusion. Fang Chen's dark eyes looked into the distance. He had mixed feelings. The Great Snow Mountain? Where was this place? Did the scholar and Hailu Tianhu both come from the Great Snow Mountain? Why would the scholar bring this token to find him? Could it be that he had discovered his identity? Or perhaps, the power behind him had discovered his identity? Thinking of this, Fang Chen's expression gradually became serious. If it was as he guessed, then what awaited him would be the greatest disaster. End of chapter. Chapter 3971. Why would the scholar bring this special medallion to this city? Was it just to save Gong Tianhu? The more he thought about it, the more serious Fang Chen's expression became. The situation was much more serious than he had imagined. He was not sure if Gong Tianhu and the scholar were from the same faction. What was the origin of the Great Snow Mountain behind the scholar? Was it related to the Chaos Realm? After a long while, Fang Chen shook his head hard and looked down at the token in his hand. Perhaps the answer to all the mysteries was hidden in this token? The three white ape brothers stared at Fang Chen. Although they did not know what the token meant, they noticed that Fang Chen's expression was very serious, so they did not disturb him. The onlookers gradually dispersed. Fang Chen stood in the square, trying to figure out the mystery of the token. But he gave up in the end. Although he sensed a familiar aura from the token that belonged to the Chaos Realm, he was unable to explore it. Therefore, he was puzzled. What was the relationship between the Great Snow Mountain and the Chaos Realm? The origin world was a world that the devouring demon clan's patriarch had created by devouring 2/3 of the heavenly Tao fate of the Chaos Realm. Because the heavenly Tao origin here was perfect and flawless, it could give birth to many top experts. The primal Chaos Realm gradually declined and even reached the point of being exterminated. As Fang Chen shouldered the heavy responsibility of saving the Chaos world, he came into contact with far too many secrets. He became increasingly convinced that the experts of the Chaos world back then did not seem to have died in the Great Godfall War as recorded in the history books. Fang Chen guessed that they were the masterminds behind the scenes. And he was the best candidate to carry out the mission among the hundreds of millions of cultivators. Especially after entering the origin world, he came into contact with the places that the experts of the Chaos Realm had visited. In the Cliff of Death, he even encountered some experts from the ancient civilization. There were also those sleeping experts. For example, Xing Wang, fisherman, and Great Emperor Mie Yu. Various signs indicated that there were still great experts of the Chaos Realm hiding in the origin world, but it was not convenient for them to show themselves now. They were probably plotting something big. Now, Fang Chen had just come out of the Cliff of Death, and someone from the Great Snow Mountain had already delivered the token to him. He suspected that saving Heavenly Armor King was a lie, and giving him the token was real. If his guess was correct, what role did the Great Snow Mountain play? He definitely did not dare to go to the Great Snow Mountain. "Brother, what should we do now?" the three white ape brothers asked. Their original mission was to go to the Cliff of Death to help Fang Chen snatch the demonic artifact and bring it out safely. Who would have thought that he would be ambushed by Helmut Tianhu on the way here? His cultivation would be sealed, and he would be locked up in a cage and displayed to the world as a pet. This made the three brothers very angry and very ashamed. Because the person who saved them was actually their mission protector. But now, since Fang Chen had successfully escaped from the Cliff of Death and learned from their conversation that the ghost weapon had been taken away by the primitive tribes, their mission was naturally terminated. "Brother, do you want to come back with us to meet grandfather?" Old Third asked. "You just came out of the Cliff of Death, and you might have been targeted by many forces. For safety's sake, you should come back with us," Old Second said. "The force behind the person who saved Heavenly Armor King will not let this matter rest," Old Third said. "Brother, you should be careful." Fang Chen's gaze swept across everyone, and then he nodded and thanked them. "Thank you for your kindness, the three of you and Senior White Ape. I still have some things to take care of, so I won't go back with you. When I'm done, I'll personally go to your tribe to thank Senior White Ape." "All right, then we'll part ways here." The three white ape brothers bid farewell and returned to their tribe. Fang Chen's deep eyes stared in a certain direction. He vaguely sensed that the chaotic aura in the token seemed to be rippling. After this battle, Fang Chen's name had spread throughout the city. Wherever he went, everyone was very afraid, and their eyes were full of reverence. In the bustling restaurant, Fang Chen sat by the window, drinking and looking out of the window at the same time. Thud, thud, thud. After a while, the waiter came over with a white-haired old man. "Sir, the person you want is here," the waiter said, pointing at the white-haired old man. Crash. Fang Chen casually threw a lump of gold into the waiter's hand. The waiter smiled and said, "Senior White is a know-it-all. If you have any questions, just ask him." With that, the waiter left. Fang Chen pointed at the chair opposite him, motioning for the white-haired old man to sit down. "Little brother, you want to ask about the Great Snow Mountain?" The white-haired old man smiled. Fang Chen did not speak, and the white-haired old man continued, "The Great Snow Mountain is very mysterious. They have been developing in secret, and their people rarely come out. I happen to know some information about the Great Snow Mountain, but my fee is a little high." "How much?" Fang Chen asked. The white-haired old man stretched out a finger and said with a smile, "The origin pill and a saint-level secret technique." Fang Chen did not hesitate and directly threw the origin pill and the saint-level secret technique to the white-haired old man. Seeing this, the old man was overjoyed and immediately said, "Brother, you are a straightforward person. This old man will tell you everything he knows." "Tell me everything you know about the Great Snow Mountain," Fang Chen said. "The scholar who saved Helian Tianhu is not from the Great Snow Mountain. Strictly speaking, he is a member of a subordinate force of the Great Snow Mountain. Helian Tianhu is his best friend, so he took action. He had no choice but to use the token to save Helian Tianhu. That token is called a kill order in the Great Snow Mountain." Fang Chen raised his eyebrows and was a little surprised. "A kill order?" The white-haired old man nodded. "Yes, a kill order. If the Great Snow Mountain wants to kill someone, they will give them a kill order in advance. There was a rumor in the Jianghu that as long as one received a kill order, they would definitely die. The scholar gave me a kill order because he wanted to kill me?" Fang Chen asked. The white-haired old man said that the kill order in the scholar's hand was actually given to the force behind him by the Great Snow Mountain. It was equivalent to a trump card. If he wanted to kill someone, he just had to throw the kill order to the person, and the people of the Great Snow Mountain would kill the person who had the kill order. How could he be so sure that the kill order could save Helian Tianhu's life? Fang Chen asked in return. If it was someone else who could not sense the chaotic aura in the kill order, then what was the difference between this kill order and an ordinary token? No one could recognize the kill token. Did that mean that it was just an ordinary token? End of chapter. Chapter 3972. The white-haired old man was known as the Jianghu know-it-all and knew many important secrets that most people did not. Moreover, he was somewhat famous in the origin world. Many large factions would seek him out for information. Fang Chen had also heard of this news, which was why he had asked the waiter to find him. As expected, he had obtained a lot of information regarding the Great Snow Mountain. It was true that the scholar had saved Guan Tianhu because the two of them were best friends. The scholar had no choice but to take out the kill token that the Great Snow Mountain had given to the faction behind him in exchange for Guan Tianhu. However, outsiders had never seen the kill token before, so it was impossible for them to recognize it. This meant that even Fang Chen might not recognize the kill token. Why did the scholar think that the Great Snow Mountain's kill token could save Guan Tianhu's life? If Fang Chen had not sensed the familiar aura of the chaotic realm from the kill token, how could he have let Guan Tianhu go? After hearing the white-haired old man's words, Fang Chen sank into deep thought. What was going on? Why was the scholar so certain that he would accept the kill token? The kill token meant death for ordinary people. No one was willing to see the kill warrant, and it was even more impossible for someone to take it into their arms. This matter. The white-haired old man hesitated for a moment and raised his head to glance at Fang Chen. The latter took out another origin pill from his bosom. After the old man took it, he said, "From what I know, although the kill token is a token used by the Great Snow Mountain to kill enemies, more importantly, it contains a unique aura. I was fortunate enough to see a kill token that was exactly the same as the one you have. After studying it carefully, I discovered that the unique aura within the kill token can cause the power in a cultivator's body to vibrate and resonate, allowing the cultivator's strength to increase by leaps and bounds," the white-haired old man said. Oh! Fang Chen was stunned. Could the unique aura that the white-haired old man was talking about be the aura of the chaotic realm? Then why was the Great Snow Mountain able to create such a unique kill token? Who was controlling the Great Snow Mountain behind the scenes? Could it be related to the experts of the Chaos Realm? So, you're saying that even if I didn't recognize the killing token and sense the unique aura within it, I would still accept it as a treasure? Fang Chen asked. The white-haired old man nodded. He had no reason to refuse. Although the kill order represented death, it also represented opportunity. It was said that as long as one could fully comprehend the special aura contained within the kill order and refine it, the Great Snow Mountain would cancel their pursuit. On the other hand, this was also a way for the Great Snow Mountain to test the world. Has anyone managed to refine the aura within all these years? Fang Chen asked. This was what he was most concerned about. After all, the person who could refine the aura of the chaotic realm in the kill order was definitely someone from the chaotic realm. There was one person who succeeded. He managed to refine the killing order. Not long after, the Great Snow Mountain announced that they had stopped hunting him down. However, everyone discovered that after that, that person had completely disappeared. It was as if he had evaporated into thin air. The white-haired elder muttered. This was why everyone's expression changed when they heard about the killing token. Was he killed by the Great Snow Mountain? Fang Chen frowned. The Great Snow Mountain's method always gave him the illusion that they were deliberately looking for people from the chaotic realm. He now had two guesses. First, the Great Snow Mountain was controlled by experts from the chaotic realm. They deliberately used the killing token as bait to find lost experts from the chaotic realm. Second, the Great Snow Mountain was controlled by experts from the devouring demon clan. They used the killing token as bait to kill enemies from the chaotic realm who had sneaked into the origin world. Whoosh! Fang Chen took a deep breath. His expression became solemn. Things were becoming more and more confusing. Even he could not determine the Great Snow Mountain's role in this matter. I've said all that needs to be said. Brother, let me give you a piece of advice. Throw away the killing token and go as far as you can. The white-haired elder advised. Fang Chen nodded. All right, you can go back first. After the white-haired elder left, Fang Chen's eyes shone with a complicated light. He got up and left the restaurant. Not long after, Fang Chen appeared in a mountain range. This mountain range was crisscrossed with towering trees. From time to time, the roars of beasts could be heard in the lush mountain range. He headed north. This was already the 9th day since Fang Chen left the city. Once he crossed this mountain range, he would be able to enter the territory of the scholars' faction. Rip! While Fang Chen was sitting on a rock to rest, a tearing sound suddenly came from the void. His expression instantly became solemn as he looked around vigilantly. It was also at this moment that an 8-clawed centipede suddenly appeared out of thin air. It opened its bloody mouth and bit at him. Boom! Fang Chen did not say anything and directly used the ultimate sword technique. Swoosh! The terrifying sword light crisscrossed and tore apart the 8-clawed centipede. The 8-clawed centipede's head fell to the ground. Its gong-sized eyes stared at Fang Chen as it lost its life. There's something strange about this mountain range. Fang Chen realized that this mountain range was not what it looked like on the surface. There was something strange about it. This 8-clawed centipede was obviously very strong, but it could not withstand his sword. It did not make sense. What's going on? Fang Chen spread out his divine sense and probed the surrounding situation clearly. Other than this 8-clawed centipede, there was no other demonic beast. This made him even more puzzled. Let's go. The air was filled with the smell of blood. Fang Chen quickened his pace and rushed into the depths of the mountain range. Not long after he left, 2 figures appeared near the 8-clawed centipede's corpse. Their bodies were covered with a monstrous demonic aura. If Fang Chen was here, he would definitely recognize them as the demon-devouring clan. Humph, what an idiot. Another one has come to die. The two looked at each other, their eyes full of murderous intent. Even a 9th-level Saint Realm martial artist would lose his combat effectiveness after being contaminated by the 8-clawed centipede's poison. The man in black sneered. Does this guy really think he's strong enough to kill the 8-clawed centipede with one sword? The other person said. It turned out that the 8-clawed centipede was secretly controlled by the two of them. In fact, the 8-clawed centipede's combat effectiveness was very strong, but the two of them deliberately suppressed the 8-clawed centipede's power and let Fang Chen kill it with one sword. He did not realize that the 8-clawed centipede's blood had seeped through the sword and stained his palm. Let's go. The poison is about to take effect. Be careful later. Although he is not strong, his sword technique is very strange. Although the man in black was conceited, he was very vigilant. He had studied swordsmanship quite a bit. The sword that Fang Chen had just swung was very amazing. After that, the two of them quickly moved in the direction that Fang Chen had left. The two of them could not wait to kill Fang Chen, their prey. Fang Chen, Star and Moon. Chapter 3973. In the mountain range. Fang Chen rushed forward, leaving behind after images in the dense forest. But soon, he realized that his palm was stained with the 8-clawed centipede's blood. Hiss. The blood on his palm was corroding his flesh. Poison. Fang Chen frowned. Although the 8-clawed centipede was a very poisonous monster, its poison was mainly stored in its 8 claws. It was impossible for its blood to contain poison. He raised his palm and smelled it. His face changed slightly. This wasn't the 8-clawed centipede's poison, but someone else's. Someone had injected poison into the 8-clawed centipede's blood. This poison was colorless and odorless, and when it mixed with the 8-clawed centipede's blood, its toxicity would increase tenfold. Even a 9th-level Sage Realm martial artist would lose their fighting strength after being infected with this poison. Someone is controlling the 8-clawed centipede to deal with me, Fang Chen guessed. He immediately used his ultimate force to refine the poison in his blood. Hiss. In a short while, the poison that could kill a 9th-level Sage Realm martial artist was easily refined. At this moment, rustling sounds came from the forest. Then, 2 figures appeared out of thin air. As soon as they appeared, they locked onto Fang Chen. Kid, your resistance is pretty good. You haven't collapsed yet. According to their prediction, after being poisoned, Lin Fan would lose his fighting strength and collapse within a few seconds. However, Fang Chen was still standing steadily. His face was ruddy. It seemed that he was struggling to refine the poison. Don't waste your time. You can't refine the poison. The other person said disdainfully. Over the years, who knew how many people had died at the hands of the two of them? This poison was what they relied on to survive. It was always successful. Everyone who was poisoned died in the end. There was no exception. Therefore, in their eyes, Fang Chen was already a dead man. It was just a matter of how and when he would die. What do you want to do? Fang Chen asked calmly. Now that he had refined the poison, the two people in front of him were like ants. However, he didn't immediately attack. Instead, he wanted to ask if he could glean any useful information from them. For someone who was about to die, the two of them were still very magnanimous. There's no harm in telling you. You're going to die anyway. The black-clothed man said. The two of us found an altar. That altar was left behind by a former sovereign. However, we were unable to open it. We needed 36,000 types of blood to open it. For so many years, us two brothers have been lurking here, using the 8-clawed centipede to confuse passing warriors. As long as they are poisoned, they will die in our hands. So far, we have collected 30,000 drops of blood. Hearing this, Fang Chen was also stunned. The altar left behind by the sovereign required 36,000 types of blood. Only the liquid can open it. As for those two people, they had already collected 30,000 drops of blood. This meant that 30,000 cultivators had died by their hands. It was too cruel. Aren't you afraid of being punished by the heavens for being so cruel? Fang Chen asked. HMPH, punishment by the heavens? What a joke. As long as we collect enough blood, open the altar, and obtain the sovereign's inheritance, we will be invincible in the world. Why would we be afraid of the heavens? In the world of martial arts cultivation, the strong are respected. The fist is the absolute truth. If they die in our hands, they can only blame themselves for not being strong enough. If we have invincible strength, all schemes and tricks will be useless. Fang Chen shook his head. You shouldn't have thought of using me. Kid, you're about to die, and you still dare to threaten us. The two of them looked at each other and then directly attacked. However, an unexpected scene happened. They saw that Fang Chen did not lose his combat strength. Instead, he slapped out a palm that could topple mountains and overturn seas. The void palm hit one of them hard. Suddenly, a scream was heard. That person collapsed on the ground and lost his combat strength. Seventh brother. The black-clothed man screamed loudly and kept retreating. His body was trembling. The palm just now was ridiculously strong. In so many years, he had never met such a powerful opponent. Who are you? His voice was trembling, and his heart was filled with fear. Why is the poison ineffective on you? The blood of the 8-clawed centipede could increase the efficacy of their special poison by 100-fold. In the past, all the Saint Realm warriors would definitely die if they were poisoned. But now, this person was clearly poisoned, and there was still the 8-clawed centipede's blood on his hand, but he was unharmed. What was going on? Could it be that he had managed to refine the poison in just a few seconds? No. The black-clothed man shook his head frantically, unable to believe it. Does it matter? Fang Chen stepped forward and came in front of the black-clothed man, and said calmly. It didn't matter who he was. What was important was that the two of them wanted to kill him, so they had to be prepared to bear the consequences. Kill. The black-clothed man lowered his head and suddenly raised it. A ray of light shot out from his eyes, condensing into an icicle, and pierced Fang Chen's eyeball as fast as lightning. Crack. However, when the icicle arrived in front of Fang Chen, the latter casually smashed it with his palm. The black-clothed man slumped to the ground the moment the icicle shattered. The icicle contained a primordial spirit attack, which was his trump card. Even the icicle had shattered. Without a doubt, this person's strength was above the 9th-level Saint Realm. Could it be a half-step Primal Chaos Supreme? Only a half-step Primal Chaos Supreme could have such exaggerated strength. Where is the altar you found? Fang Chen asked. The black-robed man was like a walking corpse. He didn't say a single word, but it didn't matter. Fang Chen utilized his primordial spirit at the Tao manifestation level and directly searched the man's soul. He quickly found out the location of the altar. Deep in the mountains. Fang Chen muttered to himself as he raised his head and looked into the depths of the mountains. Ah! With a scream, the black-clothed man died. His primordial spirit couldn't withstand the power of a primordial spirit of the primordial spirit at the primordial spirit level. It shattered and lost its vitality. Swoosh! Fang Chen flicked his finger, and the other person fell into a pool of blood. Not even in their wildest dreams would the two of them have imagined that the poison that had always been effective would change and cause them to lose their lives. Of course, this was just a small interlude. As far as Fang Chen was concerned, the altar left behind by the supreme-grade powerhouse had successfully attracted his attention. Before this, the only Supremes he had come into contact with should be Sky Dragon Supreme. He had obtained Sky Dragon Supreme's heart and used the ghost weapon to refine it to the final step. He was just short of an opportunity to completely integrate it. As for Fu Jian, he had only obtained his inheritance and had never come into contact with him. Thump, thump, thump. Fang Chen could feel the heart in his body slowly beating. The ghost weapon had completely integrated Sky Dragon Supreme's heart into his, and the two had become one. However, he could still feel a gap. End of chapter. Chapter 3974. In the depths of the mountain range, there was an altar that seemed to have been left behind by a sovereign. This was the information that Fang Chen obtained from the soul search. At the same time, he also obtained the 30,000 types of blood that the two had collected over the years. When Fang Chen took out the vessel that contained the blood, a fishy smell assaulted his nostrils. He almost fainted. The smell of blood was unbearable for those who had not experienced life and death situations. What a vicious method. At the same time, Fang Chen said coldly. The two of them did not die unjustly. The blood in the vessel represented at least 30,000 lives that had died in their hands. It was simply too cruel. However, he did not say anything. He followed the correct path and moved forward quickly. He did not encounter any obstacles along the way and smoothly arrived at the end of the mountain range. In a dark valley, there was a red altar. At a glance, Fang Chen's heart trembled. The altar gave off a very shocking feeling, as if it was watered with scarlet blood. Was it left behind by a sovereign? Fang Chen whispered and jumped into the valley. Immediately, a vast smell of blood filled the air. He saw some footprints on the ground. These two belonged to the two of them. It seemed that they were pretty good. They had been guarding the valley, but could not get close to the altar. Deadly poison? Fang Chen saw the scarlet blood flowing not far from the altar. He could clearly feel that the deadly poison contained in the blood of the eight-clawed centipede was exactly the same as the scarlet blood. Hiss hiss hiss. With a flick of his finger, he shot a stone into the scarlet blood. Immediately, the stone shattered and was corroded. As expected. Fang Chen could already confirm that the scarlet blood flowing from the altar was the source of the deadly poison used by the two of them. No wonder. Fang Chen was enlightened. The blood itself was a type of deadly poison. Naturally, it could merge with the blood of the eight-clawed centipede. Fang Chen also knew that it was not just the eight-clawed centipede. As long as it was the blood of a demonic beast, it could increase the power of the deadly poison. Why is this scarlet blood flowing from the altar? Fang Chen began to ponder. What was inside the altar? Was this the blood of some kind of creature? He seriously thought about it. Memories surfaced in his mind, but he really couldn't think of what kind of creature's blood would have such a strong poison. Generally speaking, if any living being had this kind of poison in their blood, it would be impossible for them to survive. Fang Chen fell into deep thought. Hiss hiss hiss. The scarlet blood seemed to have sensed life. It flowed slowly along the ground. After a while, it arrived at Fang Chen's feet, passing through his shoes and covering his feet. Ah! Fang Chen felt a heart-wrenching pain. Only then did he wake up from his thoughts. He subconsciously looked down and was shocked to find that unknowingly, the scarlet blood under the altar had flowed to his feet, corroding his shoes and covering his feet. Blood has spirituality? Or is there an expert's will in the altar? Fang Chen felt even more complicated. At the same time, he used his ultimate power to expel and refine the scarlet blood on his feet. The scarlet blood seemed to have sensed the threat of the ultimate power and quickly retreated, returning to the altar. At this time, Fang Chen's heart suddenly beat violently. Fang Chen was surprised. His heart had fused with the Sky Dragon Supreme's heart. Although there was still a small gap, it could be considered the toughest part of his body. After all, it was tainted with the Supreme's aura. The altar could actually cause his heart to beat. Could it be that this altar was really left behind by a Supreme? Hualala. Scarlet blood constantly flowed out from the red altar. Fang Chen's heart also beat faster and faster. He slowly walked to the altar and touched the scarlet blood. Wang. The scarlet blood instantly drilled into his body. Then, Fang Chen discovered that the poison didn't spread. Instead, it was all absorbed by his heart. Fang Chen was even more surprised. Could the Sky Dragon Supreme's heart be able to resist the poison? Hiss, hiss, hiss. Fang Chen directly pressed his palm into the scarlet blood and crazily absorbed it. His heart also beat faster and faster. There was even a trace of powerful aura being emitted. Wang. The aura of a Supreme. This was the unique aura of the Sky Dragon Supreme. A dragon roar resounded from his heart, resounding through the sky. It was also at this moment that the scarlet blood under the altar suddenly stopped flowing. The entire altar instantly froze. There seemed to be a faint frenzied cry coming from the altar. Thump, 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 thump. The heartbeat also became irregular. Gradually, Fang Chen's eyes became unfocused and lost. His body uncontrollably walked to the altar. In the next moment, the scarlet blood in the altar crazily spurted out and sprinkled on his body. Then, drop by drop, it quickly fused into his body and was absorbed by his heart. In just a few seconds, the amount of scarlet blood absorbed by his heart had already reached 80% of Fang Chen's blood. This was already a terrifying number. If it wasn't for his heart, the scarlet blood would spread throughout his body. Even a half-step primal chaos sovereign would die. At this moment, Fang Chen was completely delirious. All of his actions were controlled by his heart. He sat cross-legged on the altar with his palms together. The altar was still spurting out scarlet blood, as if it was specially for him to cultivate. After absorbing a large amount of scarlet blood, the heart began to refine it. The last crack seemed to be closing up. If Fang Chen was awake at this moment, he would definitely be shocked. Even a ghost weapon couldn't make the heart of the Sky Dragon Supreme merge with his. The scarlet blood on the altar was like a lubricant, perfectly lubricating the two hearts, causing the final gap between them to disappear completely. Clang! The moment the two hearts completely merged, the great Tao thunderous sound resounded in Fang Chen's ears. He fell into a state of enlightenment. On this day, all the cultivators in the entire Origin realm heard the thunderous voice of the Great Path. They fell into a daze, like walking corpses. However, it only lasted for a few seconds before they returned to normal. Strangely enough, they couldn't remember anything about it at all. It was as if it had never happened. Only a few top grand cultivators seemed to have realized something. They looked in a certain direction with a solemn expression and pinched their fingers. The heavenly tribulation is coming. After a long time, the ancient powerhouses sighed. The great Tao thunderous sound had appeared, and the heavenly tribulation was coming. A calamity that would sweep across the entire world would appear. Who could survive this calamity? However, the main character who caused this phenomenon, Fang Chen, was still immersed in the process of the fusion of the hearts. End of chapter. Chapter 3975. In the depths of the mountain range, on the altar, Fang Chen sat cross-legged with his eyes closed. He could feel a scorching energy entering his body from the altar. At this moment, he was fusing with the last sliver of his heart, and was gradually completing it. Golden light flickered where his heart was. When the last sliver of Sovereign's aura fused with the heart of the Sky Dragon Sovereign, his heart was considered to have completely fused. At this moment, Fang Chen abruptly opened his eyes. He could feel the energy in his body vibrating. Over 90 strands of ultimate force were frantically revolving around his heart. It was as if his heart was the source of energy. He could clearly feel that his heart contained an extremely powerful true dragon force. After all, the Sky Dragon Sovereign was once a primal Chaos Sovereign. Even though he had fallen a long time ago, his heart still contained the pressure of a sovereign. It resonated with the Sovereign's aura in the altar, allowing the Sky Dragon Sovereign's heart to completely fuse with Fang Chen's heart. At this moment, the toughest part of Fang Chen's body was his heart. In other words, if he were to encounter a life or death crisis, as long as he hid his Yuan spirit in his heart, he would be able to escape the calamity. There was almost no one below the sovereign realm that could injure his heart. Of course, he couldn't be careless because of this. After all, the world was vast and full of wonders. If he could cultivate the complete cultivation system of the ancient civilization, perhaps others could as well. If there was a cultivator of the same realm who cultivated the complete cultivation system of the ancient civilization, it might pose a threat to his heart. Huff. Fang Chen took a deep breath. His face was filled with uncontrollable excitement. The heart of the Sky Dragon Sovereign had finally completely fused with his heart. He didn't expect that those two fellows who had collected over 30,000 types of blood would end up giving him a wedding dress. If it wasn't for the last sliver of Sovereign's aura in the altar, he didn't know when the sliver of Sovereign's aura in his heart would be completely fused. He slowly got up and began to look around, seriously sizing up the altar. This altar wasn't any different from an ordinary altar. But what really moved Fang Chen was that according to those two fellows, there was indeed Sovereign's aura in the altar, and it had already been sucked dry by him. The question he was pondering now was whether this altar was personally created by a sovereign, or had the sovereign just been here and left behind a sliver of his aura? Who was the supreme martial artist that came here? First of all, Fang Chen excluded the demon-devouring clan's Ji-Zun. After all, the demon-devouring clan and the creatures of the Chaos Realm were mortal enemies. Even a wisp of Ji-Zun's aura would repel the creatures of the Chaos Realm. It was impossible for them to absorb it so smoothly. Secondly, he eliminated the possibility of it being a beast, as he could sense that the wisp of 9 Heavens Supreme's aura had perfectly merged with the heart of the Heavenly Dragon Supreme. Everyone knew that the Heavenly Dragon Sovereign was from the human race, and there was always a certain difference between him and the demon race. The Sovereign's aura in the altar was definitely not left behind by the demon race's sovereign. Could it be the autarch of the primal chaos realm? Fang Chen frowned thoughtfully. Up until now, he had come into contact with far too many secrets. He even speculated that there were many invisible hands behind his back, such as the Grand Monarchs and the primal chaos paragons, who everyone thought were dead. Fang Chen had even guessed who Supreme Master Fu Jian was. However, after so many years, there was no evidence to prove that Supreme Master Fu Jian was still alive. Although the origin world was the nest of the demon-devouring clan, there were still other clans that had spawned over the countless years. Many experts of the Chaos Realm had even infiltrated the origin world. Furthermore, the top experts of the Chaos Realm had once entered the origin world to fight against the demon-devouring clan for the sake of the Chaos Realm's survival. That battle had been extremely tragic, with many casualties. Even the demon-devouring clan's chief had been severely injured, and had been in seclusion ever since. Although he had come out of seclusion a few times later on, and created the legendary Battle of the Gods, extracting 2/3 of the Heavenly Tao's origin from the Chaos Realm. However, the injuries he had suffered back then had never healed. After pondering for a long time, Fang Chen shook his head and said, "Forget it. Since I've already merged with the heart of the Heavenly Dragon Supreme, I'll explore it in the future. It would be difficult to explore without any clues. Perhaps the truth would come to light when he stepped into the primal chaos realm." At this thought, Fang Chen bowed to the altar and thanked it, then quickly left. However, what he did not see was that not long after he left, an ancient sigh came from the altar, as if it had crossed the river of time. This sigh contained very complex emotions. After a long time, the sigh disappeared, and the altar turned into ruins as if it had never existed. Sho. After the last sliver of the heart had merged, Fang Chen's combat strength soared again, and he had condensed 99 strands of ultimate force. He only needed one more strand to step into the 11th Order Saint realm. However, he knew that this last strand was a bottleneck, and it would be difficult to break through in a short time. After leaving the mountain range, he entered the territory of the Scholars faction. Taishan Sect. The Scholars faction was called Taishan Sect. It was not very famous in the origin world, and few people knew about it. Fang Chen only knew about it from Jianghu's all-knowing man. Since ancient times, Taishan Sect had been a subordinate faction of the Great Snow Mountain, and the scholar was the most outstanding genius of the Taishan Sect's younger generation. He even had a chance to become a supremacy. All the resources of the Taishan Sect were tilted toward him, and even the kill order given by the Great Snow Mountain was personally rewarded to the scholar by the Taishan Hierophant. Taishan City was an indestructible city, and it was also one of the busiest cities in the barren land of the origin world. At this moment, inside Taishan Sect, the Hierophant sat on the bronze throne at the head of the table. Many elders stood on either side of him, and below him knelt a young man. This man lowered his head and confessed, "Hierophant, I know I was wrong." The scholar apologized again and again in fear, and he promised that he would never do it again. "You went too far in this matter." One of the elders shook his head. What was the kill order? It was given by the Great Snow Mountain personally, and it was equivalent to a trump card. As long as the kill order was used, the Great Snow Mountain would send experts to kill the person who received the kill order. The Taishan Hierophant gave the scholar the kill order so that he could use it at a critical moment, but he used it to save Helmut Tianhu. "You used the kill order to save someone. How could you do that?" Another elder said coldly. "You are the future hope of Taishan Sect. How could you do such a stupid thing?" The Taishan Hierophant's dark eyes stared at the scholar. No one knew what he was thinking. The scholar was scared out of his wits. He knew very well how cruel the Taishan Hierophant was, and he was filled with regret. When he saw Helmut Tianhu being humiliated, he was hot-headed and used the kill order. Now that he thought about it, he really should not have done that. End of chapter. Chapter 3976. The Taishan Hierophant was one of the 8 war gods under the command of the Great Snow Mountain. His strength had already reached the threshold of the Supreme Plane. Even in the Great Snow Mountain, he was considered a powerful person. He had created the Taishan sect to select the younger generation of geniuses for the Great Snow Mountain. As long as a disciple caught his eye, he would use all the resources of the Taishan sect to train them and send them to the Great Snow Mountain in the future. Now, there were many cultivators in the Great Snow Mountain, and many of them were sent there by the Taishan Hierophant. Therefore, the Taishan Hierophant was very prestigious in the Great Snow Mountain. Among the 8 war gods, he was one of the best. Therefore, the master of the Great Snow Mountain had given him a kill order. This kill order was different from other kill orders. It was a kill order of the highest level. It meant that the master of the Great Snowy Mountain could make a move once in a life-and-death situation. It was equivalent to having a second life. However, the scholar had used it to save Helmut Tianhu without knowing it. The Taishan Hierophant was very angry. On the bronze throne, the Taishan Hierophant was dressed in a black robe. His entire body exuded a cold aura. He stared at the scholar. The air in the entire meeting hall seemed to freeze. Even the other elders felt a chill. Hierophant, I was wrong. Please give me a chance. The scholar kowtowed and begged for mercy. What a joke. Just feeling the terrifying aura of the Taishan Hierophant was enough to make him tremble. He was terrified. He was very afraid of the Taishan Hierophant. I gave you the kill order to let you cultivate well and not have any worries. When you reach a certain level, I will send you to the Great Snow Mountain. However, you did not cherish it. The Taishan Hierophant was very disappointed with the scholar's actions. He waved his sleeve and an ice arrow shot out. It arrived in front of the scholar as fast as lightning and went straight for his head. Many elders in the meeting hall looked at each other. No one dared to plead for mercy for the scholar. They knew that the Taishan Hierophant was really angry. Hierophant. The scholar was almost crying. If the ice arrow had been a little closer, he would have died. He was scared out of his wits and his body trembled. Even so, he still begged for mercy. Crack. The ice arrow that was about to shoot at the scholar suddenly shattered. Then, the solemn atmosphere in the meeting hall disappeared. Everything returned to normal. Whoosh. All the elders heaved a sigh of relief. The scholar cried tears of joy and repeatedly kowtowed to thank the cult master. Many thanks for the cult master's grace of not killing me. I will definitely work hard in my cultivation in the future to repay the cult master. Temph, I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself. The Taishan Hierophant said in a low voice. Before the Great Snow Mountain kills that person, you must find the killing order for me. No matter what method you use, I only want results. It was because of the scholar's extraordinary talent that the Taishan Hierophant did not want to kill him. That was why he gave him a chance. Sect leader, don't worry. Even if I die, I will bring back the kill order. The scholar kowtowed and then left. In the conference hall, time was of the essence. They had to find Fang Chen before the Great Snow Mountain acted and take back the kill order. Sect master, the person who obtained the kill order was able to easily defeat Hai Tianhu. His strength shouldn't be low. At the very least, he should be a peak 9th level Sage Realm expert. I'm afraid it'll be a little difficult for the scholar to take back the kill order from him. An elder muttered. Moreover, the Great Snow Mountain is already on the move. Another person added. The Taishan Hierophant said, I'll make the arrangements. After leaving the conference hall, the scholar wiped away his tears. His face was ferocious, and his eyes were filled with endless killing intent. He exuded a cold aura and came to the courtyard where Hai Tianhu was. Big brother. Seeing the scholar, Hai Tianhu's face was full of smiles. If it wasn't for his big brother, he would have died at the hands of that guy. Every time he thought of this, his anger soared. He, Hai Tianhu, had swept through a city, but he ended up like this. He could not accept it. Hai Tianhu, the scholar said coldly. The scholar said with a cold expression, do you know the price I paid to save you? Hai Lu Tianhu was dumbfounded. The scholar had only taken out a command medallion to save him. He hadn't paid a huge price. Hailu Tianhu realized that the scholar's expression wasn't good, and his eyes were filled with anger. He hurriedly asked, "Big brother, what happened?" "That token was a kill order given to the Taishan sect by the Great Snow Mountain. I used the kill order to save you without permission and angered the sect master. I was almost executed by him. Fortunately, I'm talented. I'm the most outstanding genius of the Taishan sect in the past 1,000 years, so I was spared." Hearing this, Hai Tianhu sucked in a breath of cold air. The Taishan Hierophant wanted to kill the scholar because of a token. What was going on? Wait. The scholar's token was a kill order. Kill order? Hai Tianhu's eyes widened. That guy took the kill order from the Great Snow Mountain. Doesn't that mean he's dead for sure? When he thought of the kill order, the first thing he thought of was the bloody rumor in the Jianghu. The scholar said coldly, "He's definitely going to die, but not at the hands of the Great Snow Mountain. He's going to die at my hands. The sect master gave me a chance to live. The condition is that I kill that guy before the Great Snow Mountain and take back the kill order." This, Hai Tianhu was a little anxious. Once the kill order was issued, the Great Snow Mountain would act immediately. If he wanted to take back the kill order before they did, wouldn't that be a race against death? He finally understood why the scholar's expression was so cold. It was about his life and death. "Big brother, what are you going to do? This brother's life was saved by you. As long as you give the order, even if I have to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of flames, this brother will not even frown." Hailu Tianhu patted his chest and promised. Seeing this, the scholar's expression softened. Before he came, he had already thought about it. It was impossible for him to take back the kill order with his own strength. He had to rely on Hai Tianhu's strength. It's time to use the connections you've accumulated over the years. The scholar knew that Hai Tianhu had many friends and knew many strong people. Hai Tianhu's eyes lit up. "Okay, I'll contact them now." Next, the two of them began to discuss how to deal with Fang Chen. The latter was too strong. They couldn't fight him head-on, so they had to use a strategy. Array masters, talisman masters, weapon masters, pill masters, and Hai Tianhu could all find helpers. "Okay, it's decided. You go and contact those people. I'll go and find out where he is," the scholar said. The two of them split up. However, they didn't expect that the person they wanted to deal with had already come to the Taishan sect's territory and was asking about the scholar and the Taishan sect. If nothing went wrong, Fang Chen would take the initiative to attack the Taishan sect soon. End of chapter. Chapter 3977. Fang Chen had gained a lot from coming out of the mountain range. He still did not know that he had been targeted by the Taishan sect. Since he wanted to know the secret behind the kill order, he naturally had to start with the scholar. How did he know that he would let him go after seeing the kill order? What was going on? Before sunset, Fang Chen came to a nearby city. This city was called Shenlong City. According to the locals, a true dragon had once appeared in this city, hence the name. There were very few devouring demons in Shenlong City. One could only meet one occasionally. Most of them were from the subordinate forces of the Taishan sect. Shenlong Pavilion. Fang Chen stopped and raised his head to take a look. There were 3 bold and forceful words written on the shiny golden signboard. Vaguely, he heard a dragon's roar in his mind. His primordial spirit shook. Fang Chen frowned and fell into deep thought. At this moment, a voice interrupted his thoughts. "Dear customer, are you here to purchase information?" Shenlong Pavilion was a famous information organization in Shenlong City. It was also one of the overlords in charge of the entire city. They made a living by selling information. "Yes." Fang Chen nodded. The elder bowed to him and asked with a smile, "Sir, what kind of information do you want to buy?" At the same time, the elder invited Fang Chen into a room. "The Taishan sect," Fang Chen said. Hearing this, the old man's expression changed slightly. However, it quickly returned to normal. Countless people came to Shen Dragon City every day. Many people would come to Shen Dragon Pavilion at the first opportunity to inquire about the Supreme Mystery Sect. However, Shenlong Pavilion had a rule. Other than the younger generation of disciples, they would not sell any other information about the Taishan sect. After all, Shenlong Pavilion was also afraid of the Taishan sect. Name, the elder said. The scholar. He knew from Bai Xiaosheng that the person was called the scholar. He was one of the best of the younger generation in the Taishan sect. A saint-level weapon. Even saint-level weapons were divided into strong and weak ones. As for the information on the head disciple of the Taishan sect, the old man asked for a high-level saint-level weapon. Fang Chen readily agreed. During his time at the Cliff of Death, he had obtained many saint-level weapons, and they were all left behind by the peak experts of the ancient times. Some of the insides were broken, while others were damaged. They weren't of much use to him. After passing the saint-level weapon to the old man, he inspected it. His attitude towards Fang Chen underwent a 180-degree change, because he could tell that this weapon was extraordinary. To be able to take out such a weapon so easily, it was likely that he was no ordinary person. Greetings, esteemed guest. This is all the information you wanted about the scholar, the old man said. Among the many files, he found the scholar's file. Fang Chen took the file and prepared to leave. Sir, please wait. The old man called out to Fang Chen. He turned his head and looked puzzled. The old man continued, Sir, to be able to take out such a saint-level weapon so casually, you must not be short of money. Coincidentally, our mysterious dragon pavilion is going to hold an auction soon. Sir, are you interested? The mysterious dragon pavilion's auction was very famous. The experts of the nearby cities would all come to participate. Even the devouring demons would come. Auction? Fang Chen muttered. The old man quickly took out a small booklet from his bosom and handed it to Fang Chen. After which, he said, This is a booklet regarding the auction. The items to be auctioned this time are recorded in detail. Of course, the last 3 items to be auctioned are not on it. In every auction, the items for the finale would be fought over crazily. The mysterious dragon pavilion purposely did not reveal them to leave a suspense and attract more people to participate in the auction. Originally, Fang Chen was not interested in participating. However, when he saw that there were people from the Great Snow Mountain on the invitation list in the booklet, he was somewhat moved. When does it start? Fang Chen asked. In 3 days. It will be held in the mysterious dragon pavilion, the old man said. Fang Chen nodded and accepted the old man's invitation. All right, I will attend in 3 days. Sir, this is my token. You can enter the auction directly with it. The old man took out his token. Fang Chen thought for a while and suddenly thought of something. He asked, There should be a VIP room in the auction, right? He did not want to expose his identity and did not want the people from the Great Snow Mountain and the Supreme Mystery Sect to recognize him. He wanted to go to a VIP room. In the past, he had attended countless auctions. He knew that there would usually be VIP rooms in the auction. Some important people were not willing to show their faces easily. These VIP rooms were for their convenience. But the old man was somewhat embarrassed. He had invited Fang Chen to participate in the auction because he saw that Fang Chen could casually take out a high-grade saint-level weapon. He must be a rich man. If Yi Shiwen could successfully bid in the auction, the old man would be able to get a free reward as the person who recommended him. However, it was somewhat difficult for him to get a VIP room for Yi Shiwen. Why? Is there a problem? Fang Chen asked. The old man gritted his teeth and said, Sir, you may not know, but the VIP rooms in the mysterious Dragon Pavilion's auction are limited. There are too many important people participating. It is very difficult to enter a VIP room, unless you have enough wealth. According to the rules of the mysterious Dragon Pavilion, wealth was everything. As long as one had enough wealth, they would be qualified to enter a VIP room. Voila! Fang Chen did not say anything and took out a pile of saint-level weapons. Although most of them were broken, the smell of blood within them had never dissipated. The aura caused the old man to retreat continuously, panting heavily. So scary. The old man shook his head forcefully. Thinking of the scene just now, he still felt a lingering fear. Are these enough? Fang Chen asked. The old man quickly nodded. What kind of joke was this? He had never seen so many saint-level weapons in his life. At this moment, his attitude toward Fang Chen was like how he treated those important people, full of reverence. Of course it is enough. Sir, don't worry. I will prepare a VIP room for you. You can come here directly in 3 days, the old man said as he wiped the sweat off his forehead. All right. I will be there on time in 3 days. After saying that, Fang Chen turned and left the mysterious dragon pavilion. Who? After Fang Chen completely disappeared, the old man heaved a sigh of relief. The pressure from those saint-level weapons was too strong. Even the old man found it hard to breathe. Where exactly did this fellow come from? He is so young, but he already has so many baleful saint-level weapons. The old man's eyes darted around, trying to guess Fang Chen's identity. His intuition told him that this person might be a disciple of some hidden clan or an outstanding talent who had experienced life and death, tempering himself with blood and fire. The baleful aura contained in those saint-level weapons was enough to explain everything. End of chapter. Chapter 3978. The old man in the profound dragon pavilion was actually a deacon. His authority was second only to the pavilion master and the 3 elders. Usually, he could make decisions for most of the matters. However, he did not dare to make decisions for something as big as the profound dragon auction. After all, it was the profound dragon pavilion's signature. Only the pavilion master could reserve a VIP room for others. Even if the 3 elders were not present. Fang Chen's wealth had already reached the standard of a VIP room. However, there were limited VIP rooms. He had to report it and get approval. Not long after Fang Chen left, Deacon Bai arrived at the top floor of the profound dragon pavilion. The pavilion master and the 3 elders were discussing the important matters of the profound dragon auction that would be held 3 days later. First elder, the people from the major forces will gradually arrive. You will be in charge of receiving them, the pavilion master said. The first elder nodded and said, Rest assured, pavilion master. We have held the profound dragon auction countless times. There will definitely not be any mistakes. The pavilion master nodded and continued to give out orders. Second elder, you will be in charge of receiving the VIP guests. I will give you a list of the VIP guests later. As for the third elder's task, it was to maintain the order of the profound dragon auction. Once there was a disturbance, he would be executed on the spot. Of course, under normal circumstances, almost no one would dare to cause trouble in the profound dragon auction. However, it was better to be safe. After all, treasures could sometimes make people lose their minds. Pavilion master, we have a total of 9 VIP rooms. Now, 8 of them have been reserved. Can I reserve the last one? The one who spoke was the second elder. He was mainly responsible for receiving the VIPs in the VIP rooms. Many people wanted to ask him for help and wanted to get the last VIP room. Once he obtained the right to use the last VIP room, he would be able to obtain some benefits from the people who wanted to ask him for help. The pavilion master naturally knew what the second elder was thinking. However, as long as it did not harm the interests of the profound dragon pavilion, he did not care. He waved his hand and made a decision. However, at this moment, the door opened and Deacon Bai walked in, panting. Pavilion master, I have a VIP here. He wants to apply for the last VIP room. Please approve. When Deacon Bai heard that there was only one VIP room left, he was somewhat anxious. He had already promised Fang Chen. If he couldn't do it, it would be difficult for him. Deacon Bai, the pavilion lord has just given me the right to use the last VIP room. I'm sorry, but there are also many people here who have applied for it, the second elder said coldly. Although there were many people here who wanted to get a VIP room, they did not meet the criteria for a VIP room, so they could only ask the second elder for help. Deacon Bai ignored the second elder. He cupped his fists at the profound dragon pavilion master and said, Pavilion master, my guest here is extremely wealthy. I suspect that he is from some hidden great clan. He is definitely qualified to occupy a VIP room. After that, Deacon Bai told the mysterious dragon pavilion master everything that had just happened. Upon hearing those words, The middle-aged man gasped in shock. A mountain of Saint-tier artifacts. Where did this young man come from? You don't know him? The mysterious dragon pavilion master asked. Deacon Bai shook his head. I've never seen him before. That's why I guessed that he's from a hidden clan. Otherwise, how could he have so many saint-level weapons? Even though the great majority of those saint-level divine armaments were damaged, merely the baleful aura contained within those weapons was enough to tell that they were extraordinary. Deacon Bai, do you think we're all fools? The second elder retorted. Even the Great Snow Mountain and the Taishen sect are unable to take out a mountain of saint-level weapons. How could a mere young martial artist have them? Deacon Bai, in order to snatch the VIP room from me, you're really unscrupulous. The second elder thought that Deacon Bai was deliberately competing with him. In front of benefits, how could he give in? Deacon Bai, the profound dragon pavilion master muttered. Do you know what you're doing means? If what Deacon Bai said was true, then this young man's background should be extraordinary. He was definitely qualified to occupy a VIP room. However, if what he said was false, then not only would he embarrass the profound dragon pavilion, but he would also offend many experts. The profound dragon pavilion master was also weighing the pros and cons. The first elder and the third elder did not say anything. They did not want to get involved in the fight between the second elder and Deacon Bai. Pavilion master, I guarantee with my life that what I said before is true. Furthermore, I am willing to bear all the consequences of this matter, Deacon Bai said firmly. The profound dragon pavilion master narrowed his eyes and stared at Deacon Bai. Since he had already said so, there was no point in continuing to argue. All right. I hope you remember what you said. I don't want any mistakes to happen in this auction, the profound dragon pavilion master said sternly. Otherwise, you can bring your head to me. Many thanks, pavilion master. Deacon Bai was overjoyed. He cupped his fists and thanked the pavilion master. Pavilion master, the second elder still wanted to argue, but the profound dragon pavilion master waved his hand. He opened his mouth, then flung his sleeve and left the top floor of the pavilion. Deacon Bai, who had obtained the last VIP room, immediately told Fang Chen the news. The latter was temporarily staying in a restaurant, waiting for the auction 3 days later. I hope that there will be something I want in the auction, Fang Chen said softly. After attending the auction, he would continue his journey to the Taishen sect to find the scholar and find out the mystery of the kill order. However, what he did not know was that the scholar had already obtained his approximate location from various sources in the Taishen sect. Big brother, I have already contacted the helpers. How are things on your side? Gui Hu asked. According to the information, Gui Hu said. According to the information, that person seems to be heading north, towards our Taishen sect. The closest place to the border is Profound Dragon City. Recently, there seems to be a super auction in Profound Dragon City. He might be participating. While guessing, the scholar also sent out many spies to search for Fang Chen in Profound Dragon City. Humph. No matter where you hide, I will kill you. All right. I will ask my brothers to wait in Profound Dragon City. As soon as he appears, we will suppress him, Gui Hu said. His hatred for Fang Chen had reached an unprecedented level. If possible, he wanted to end the life of the person who had humiliated him with his own hands. Everything seemed to be proceeding in an orderly manner. Profound Dragon City became more and more lively. Many foreign experts came to attend the Profound Dragon auction. Every time the Mystery Dragon auction was held, it would attract countless experts and cause a huge commotion. However, they did not know that a storm was sweeping through Profound Dragon City. End of chapter. Chapter 3979. 3 days later. The atmosphere in Mystic Dragon City had reached its peak. Within the city, there was a sea of people. Everyone was here for the Mystic Dragon auction. However, there were very few people who were qualified to participate in the Mystic Dragon auction. In front of the Mystic Dragon Pavilion, one after another, martial artists walked in with invitations in their hands. At noon, Fang Chen was invited to the Mystic Dragon Pavilion. Deacon Bai had told him that he could use the VIP passage directly. This would save him a lot of time. In the normal passage, the queue was almost at the city gate. No one knew when it would end. The VIP passage was sparsely populated. Occasionally, there would be people entering from there. Even so, many people's eyes were attracted to the VIP passage. After all, those who were able to use the VIP passage were basically people from the top forces or experts who were extremely wealthy. I wonder if anyone from the Taishan sect and the Great Snow Mountain will come this time? Discussions could be heard from the crowd. I don't think the Great Snow Mountain will come, another person said. After all, the Great Snow Mountain was the absolute overlord of the extreme north. They did not care about the Mystic Dragon auction held by the Mystic Dragon Pavilion. However, it was very likely that the Taishan sect would send someone. Look, isn't that someone from the Taishan sect? Indeed, just as they finished, someone from the Taishan sect appeared. The scholar did not hide his identity as he swaggered into the VIP passageway. He glanced at the crowd coldly before entering the passageway. It's the scholar, the #1 genius of the Taishan sect. I didn't expect the Taishan sect to send him to participate in the Mystic Dragon auction. It seems that there will be something attractive at the Mystic Dragon auction. Many people started to guess what kind of item would appear at the auction that would attract people from the Taishan sect. Master Shu, the second elder of the Mystic Dragon Pavilion, saw the scholar from afar and greeted him warmly. I didn't expect you to come to our auction. Yes. The scholar nodded. The Mystic Dragon Pavilion was only a force in the Mystic Dragon City. To a giant like the Taishan sect, it was nothing. The scholar did not give the second elder any face. He walked past the VIP passage and entered the normal hall. He found a corner and sat down. The second elder was stunned. He had thought that the scholar would ask for a VIP room for him. He had even thought about it. He was going to give the VIP room that Deacon Bai had been given to the scholar. However, the scholar's actions left the second elder puzzled. Young Master Shu, with your status, how could you stay in an ordinary hall? Our profound dragon pavilion has prepared a VIP room for you. Before the second elder could finish his words, he was interrupted. Don't disturb me, the scholar said impatiently. Then, he ignored the second elder and closed his eyes to rest. With such a lively scene today, I don't believe that you won't come. The scholar thought to himself. He wanted to find Fang Chen in this hall and capture him. As for Gong Tianhu, he led his helpers and hid in every corner of Mystic Dragon City. As long as one side made a move, the other side would come to their aid immediately. This was also the reason why he wasn't willing to enter the VIP room. The second elder naturally didn't know that the scholar had come with a mission. Time passed bit by bit. In the blink of an eye, it was already afternoon. At this time, Fang Chen had also arrived. However, before he could enter the VIP passage, he was stopped by the guards. Brat, this is the VIP passage. Line up over there, one of the guards said coldly. Without an invitation, no one was allowed to use the VIP passage. This was an iron rule. Do you have an invitation? The other guard stared at Fang Chen and asked. Fang Chen shook his head. I don't. The invitation is in Deacon Bai's hands. He hasn't given it to me yet. When the two guards heard this, they thought that Fang Chen was a swindler. They immediately scolded, we often meet swindlers like you. Hurry up and get lost. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. How dare you cause trouble in the profound dragon pavilion? Are you tired of living? Fang Chen frowned. He was about to send a message to Deacon Bai. The latter had already seen Fang Chen. He hurriedly ran out of the VIP passage and stopped the two guards. Nonsense. Then, he smiled at Fang Chen and apologized profusely. I'm sorry. As he spoke, he led Fang Chen into the VIP passage and entered the VIP room. When the two guards saw this, their hearts were filled with fear. What kind of big shot could make Deacon Bai personally come to welcome him? The two guards looked at each other. They were a little scared. Those who could enter the VIP room were either rich or noble. Small shots like them could not afford to offend them. It's over. The two guards were trembling in fear. On the other side, the people who were lining up at the ordinary passage were also very surprised. Who is that? He looks very unfamiliar. He actually made Deacon Bai personally come to welcome him. He must have a big background. The sound of discussion was endless. Fang Chen's VIP room was number 9, which was also the last one. This was deliberately done by the second elder. He was still holding a grudge against Deacon Bai for taking his place. Deacon Bai, is that the person you brought? The second elder had appeared out of nowhere and said coldly. Deacon Bai nodded, that's him. Temph, look at his ordinary appearance. He doesn't look like someone like you who can take out several upgraded weapons at will. The second elder said. Deacon Bai did not want to argue with the second elder. He shrugged and turned to leave. Temph, I'd like to see what the person you brought is capable of. The second elder looked at the VIP room. He glanced at VIP room 9 and snorted coldly. When it was night time, all the people who participated in the auction had already entered. The whole hall was dark. The VIPs in the 9 VIP rooms had all taken their seats. Everyone knew that the auction was about to begin. They held their breath, waiting for the most exciting moment. Not here. The scholar in the corner scanned the entire auction hall with his spiritual sense. He did not find Fang Chen. He frowned. It shouldn't be. Could it be that he guessed wrong? He wanted to check the VIP rooms. Unfortunately, in order to protect the identity of the VIPs, the mysterious Dragon Pavilion had personally invited a formation master to engrave a formation on the VIP rooms. It could block the detection of spiritual sense. In the VIP room number 9, Fang Chen looked out of the window and suddenly saw the scholar. He's here too. He originally planned to go to the Supreme Mystery Sect to find the scholar after the auction. He did not expect the scholar to come to him. This was even better. He could save a lot of energy. Let's wait until the auction is over, Fang Chen said. He did not want to attract the attention of the mysterious Dragon Pavilion and the Supreme Mystery Sect. At the same time, he was curious about what rare items would appear in the auction. For the time being, he did not plan to do anything to the scholar. He would wait until the auction was over. End of chapter. Chapter 3980. Mysterious Dragon Pavilion auction. Under the anticipation of the crowd, the auction finally began when night fell. The first person to step onto the stage was a beautiful woman. She was different from an ordinary woman. Her body emitted a soft light, as if she was a beautiful woman bathed in the moonlight. The crowd sighed. Even the host was a Saint Realm expert. As expected of the mysterious Dragon Pavilion auction. How generous. Under the introduction of the red-clothed woman, the first auction item was presented on the stage. Whoosh. The red-clothed woman lifted the cloth covering the tray. In an instant, a strange light burst out. The crowd's gaze fell on the tray. What entered his eyes was a crystal ball-like sphere. This is. The crowd's first reaction was that it was an elixir. The first auction item is a wind elemental origin elixir. The red-clothed woman introduced with a smile. The so-called Saint Realm was the legendary 5 elements Saint Realm. They cultivated the most basic and strongest power in the world. It was called the 5 elements origin. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. The 5 elements perfectly formed a world. They were the foundation of this world. Anyone who comprehended one of the origin energy would be able to step into the 5 elements Saint Realm from the yin-yang origin realm. From then on, they would begin the path to the peak of martial arts. However, after so many years, there were very few people who could comprehend all 5 elements. Even Fang Chen had only comprehended 4 of them. He had only just begun to comprehend the 5th element. He had never fully comprehended it. The origin elixir was an elixir refined using the origin energy of the world. Generally speaking, the origin elixir was more attractive to Saint Realm martial artists. However, it was only the crudest origin elixir. The wind elemental origin elixir that the mysterious Dragon Pavilion auction house brought out was a peak-grade origin elixir. Many people's eyes lit up as they scrambled to bid. At their level, ordinary currency no longer had any meaning. They used Saint-level weapons as their currency to quote prices. The starting price was a primary-grade Saint-grade weapon. I'll bid too. Someone started to bid. I'll offer 3 items. I'm skilled in the Tao of Wind. My comprehension of the wind origin source is only one step away from reaching perfection. As long as I have this wind origin source pill, my attainments in speed will definitely increase. Many wind attribute experts looked greedily at the crystalline medicinal pill. Of course, there were also some non-wind elemental powerhouses who thought highly of him. After all, the medicinal effect of the wind origin pellet was simply too powerful. If one were to encounter a life and death crisis, one would be able to increase one's speed by 100 times for a short period of time after consuming the wind origin pellet. This was equivalent to a life. Everyone was shouting crazily. The red-clothed lady's face was full of smiles. The higher the price, the more profit the mysterious dragon pavilion would make. I, Wang Xian, will be taking this pill. When the price of the wind elemental origin pill reached 9 basic upgrade weapons, a voice suddenly rang out and silenced the entire auction hall. Everyone's gaze uniformly fell on the person who made the bid. He was clad in golden armor, and his entire body was emitting fiery light. When the crowd saw his appearance, they all cried out in alarm. It's someone from the Wang family of the Fire tribe. This person seems to have the Shenyang fire on him. Could he be Wang Ting from the Wang family? Boom! There was an uproar in the auction hall. Wang Ting from the Wang family of the Fire tribe was known to have the bearing of a sovereign. He had been nurtured as the future hope of the Fire tribe since he was young. Although the Fire tribe was also a subordinate force of the Great Snow Mountain, Wang Ting's name had already spread far and wide. He had even been accepted as the last disciple of the Great Snow Mountain's powerhouses. That person from the Wang family is also here. Why does the Fire tribe want the wind origin pellet? Many people were surprised. However, after Wang Ting from the Fire tribe spoke, no one dared to bid anymore. Obviously, they were also somewhat afraid of the Fire tribe. In the end, after repeated inquiries by the red-clothed lady, no one bid. Wang Ting from the Fire tribe won the wind origin pellet at the price of 10 basic sacred weapons. Congratulations, brother Wang Ting. The surrounding crowd cupped their hands and congratulated Wang Ting. The latter sat back in his seat and closed his eyes to rest. Wang Ting. The scholar in the corner frowned slightly. Originally, he was also prepared to bid. After all, having a wind origin pellet meant that he could escape at a critical moment. However, after the king of the Fire tribe raised the price, he was not prepared to compete. Interesting. The corners of the scholar's mouth curled up, revealing a sinister smile. It seemed that this auction had attracted a lot of people. In VIP room number 9, Fang Chen shook his head. Seeing so many people competing for the wind origin pellet, he wanted to laugh. When did the wind origin pellet become so popular? Or had he been out of the mainstream for a long time, and it was difficult for him to integrate into the lives of ordinary people? He shrugged. Although 10 elementary Saint-grade weapons were nothing to him, the wind origin pill was even less of a problem. That was because he himself was an alchemist. Moreover, his comprehension of the wind origin pill had already reached the pinnacle. He could easily refine the wind origin pill. If I had known that the wind origin pellet was so popular, I would have refined some and asked Deacon Bai to help me sell them. Fang Chen curled his lips. It was too late to say that now. At the same time, he did not have much hope for this auction. Following that, the auction continued in full swing. The lady in red did her best to introduce the benefits of each auction item, which moved the hearts of the people. Round after round of bidding gradually became louder and louder. The atmosphere in the auction house was ignited. The lady in red's beautiful eyes flickered, inciting the crowd to compete in the bidding. The second item, the third item, the fourth item. One item after another was bought by the crowd at a high price. The experts of the Profound Dragon Pavilion were overjoyed. At this moment, the Profound Dragon Pavilion master, who was on the top floor of the pavilion, had been paying close attention to the situation in the auction house. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. The person who came in was the first elder. He briefly reported the situation of the auction to the Profound Dragon Pavilion master. The profits of this auction are greater than the previous ones. The Profound Dragon Pavilion master smiled. That's right, Other than the Wang family of the Fire Tribe, who else is here? Big forces like the Wang family of the Fire Tribe and the Taishen sect did not bother to participate in the Profound Dragon Pavilion's auction. The appearance of the Wang Ting from the Fire Tribe surprised the Profound Dragon Pavilion master. There is also the scholar from the Taishen sect, the first elder said. Hearing this, the Profound Dragon Pavilion master looked around and smiled. It looks like this auction will be very lively. At the same time, he also reminded the first elder to take good care of the defense. Anyone who dared to disrupt the auction was to be killed on the spot. Don't worry, Pavilion Master. I have already secretly deployed a large amount of manpower. I believe that no one will dare to cause trouble, the first elder said. Before leaving, the Profound Dragon Pavilion Master suddenly remembered the VIP room that Deacon Bai wanted. That's right. Did the person that Deacon Bai gave the VIP room bid? End of chapter. Bid. Chapter 3981. With wave after wave of bids, the atmosphere in the auction house was completely ignited. Everyone was shouting crazily, hoping to get their hands on the item they wanted. However, this was an auction after all. There was more than one person who wanted to fight for it. Many people had to pay a hefty price to get their hands on the item they wanted. They were even willing to shed all pretense of cordiality. Of course, this was only for ordinary martial artists. Those who were truly powerful did not need to do this because no one dared to compete with them. After all, they had the backing of the top forces. Especially the scholar from the Taishen sect and Wang Ting from the Wang family of the Hua tribe. As long as the two of them bid, no one dared to continue bidding. From this, one could see how powerful the Taishen sect and the Wang family of the Hua tribe were in this territory. Time passed slowly. In the blink of an eye, it was already late at night. At this moment, the auction had reached its climax. However, Fang Chen, who had not made a bid all this while, finally made his first bid on the 15th auction item. On the stage, a lady was holding a tray. On the tray, there was a thumb-sized stone. This seemingly ordinary stone had successfully attracted Fang Chen's attention. He could feel the ultimate force in his body vibrating. This is... Fang Chen's eyes were like torches as he stared at the stone on the stage. After sensing for a while, he finally recognized this stone. Heavenly Source Stone? Fang Chen was shocked. He did not expect to see a heavenly source stone in this small Xian Dragon city. It seemed that the Xian Dragon Pavilion did not recognize it, nor did the people in the auction house. This stone was accidentally obtained by an elder of the Xian Dragon Pavilion when he was training outside. It was said that the place where this stone was found was very close to the tomb of a peak expert. After many experts of the Xian Dragon Pavilion studied it, they finally concluded that this stone most likely came from the tomb of that expert. On the stage, the host introduced it with a smile. Which expert? Below the stage, someone asked curiously. Rage Emperor. When the host uttered these two words, the entire auction hall instantly fell silent. Everyone's eyes were filled with astonishment. This inconspicuous stone actually came from Rage Emperor's tomb? How is this possible? Rage Emperor's body and soul were destroyed back then. It's impossible for his tomb to exist. That's right. Rage Emperor's death was witnessed by everyone in the origin world. Is the Xian Dragon Pavilion lying? TCH, isn't it just a broken stone? Why are you being so secretive? Even involving Emperor Fury? After recovering from the shock, some people reacted and retorted. The scholar in the corner also had a look of shock on his face of. After hearing everyone's rebuttal, everyone came back to their senses and shook their heads. After Rage Emperor's death, the Devouring Demon clan mobilized all their clansmen to search the entire origin world. They wanted to destroy everything related to Rage Emperor. Rage Emperor was the shame of the Devouring Demon clan. Their clan wanted to dominate the universe and call themselves the strongest clan. They would not allow such a scandal to exist. Now, Xian Dragon Pavilion said that they had found Rage Emperor's tomb and that the stone was most likely from the tomb. Were they challenging the Devouring Demon clan? Indeed. Many people calmed down and thought of how terrifying the Devouring Demon clan was. Instantly, they fell silent. Most of the people present were experts from the Devouring Demon clan. They expressed their dissatisfaction with Shen Dragon Pavilion. Isn't the Profound Dragon Pavilion a little too bold? Are you challenging the Devouring Demon clan? It's definitely a provocation. Some experts from the Devouring Demon clan said coldly. Wang Ting from the Wang family of the Fire tribe did not say anything. His eyes shone with a strange light as he watched the show. The scholar in the corner did not make a move either. On the stage, the host seemed to have expected this. She was calm and did not panic at all. Everyone, the host wanted to say something, but she was interrupted by a voice. I bid 10 sacred class weapons. His sudden words attracted everyone's attention to VIP room number 9. Everyone was shocked. Someone dared to bid at such a critical moment. Was he courting death? As expected, the expert from the Devouring Demon tribe was furious. He wanted to tear down VIP room number 9 and beat the person who had made the bid to death. However, they endured it. This was the territory of Shen Dragon Pavilion. Who is in VIP room 9? Is this person crazy? How dare he challenge the Devouring Demon clan? Humph, I want to see who he is. Many people were watching the show, including the second elder. Disdain flashed in their eyes. This stone was related to Rage Emperor. Normally, the Shen Dragon Pavilion would not dare to touch it. However, a mysterious expert had come and talked to the pavilion master. Then, the pavilion master announced that the stone would be auctioned. Although the second elder did not know who the mysterious expert was, he knew that Fang Chen was not qualified to bear the anger of the Devouring Demon clan. Idiot, the second elder sneered. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? The host asked with a smile. The auction house was completely silent. No one made a bid. At this moment, on the top floor, the first elder heard the news and immediately reported it to the pavilion master. You're saying that the person who bid is the one Deacon Bai brought? A strange look flashed across the mysterious Dragon Pavilion master's eyes. After a while, he said, after the auction is over, you will personally bring that person to see me. Yes, Pavilion Master, the first elder said. After the first elder left, the Pavilion Master put his hands together and prayed in his heart. I hope that what you said is true. Otherwise, my Profound Dragon Pavilion will fall into an irrecoverable state, the Pavilion Master of the Profound Dragon Pavilion said in a hoarse voice. This time, he had bet the entire Shen Dragon Pavilion. In the auction house, the auction continued. However, the Stone of Rage Emperor made everyone flinch. In the end, Fang Chen obtained the stone at the starting price. Rage Emperor? Fang Chen shook his head. He did not know who Rage Emperor was. He had never seen him before. He only knew that the stone was a heavenly source stone. It was very useful to him. Buzz. After the stone was auctioned, the auction house returned to its previous liveliness. Everyone started to fight for the next supreme treasure. Wonderful Book House. Chapter 3982. The auction of the heavenly source stone came to an end. Everyone was extremely dissatisfied with the person in VIP room 9, especially the experts of the Devouring Demon clan. They wanted to kill the person who bought the stone related to Emperor Roth. However, due to the rules of the auction, they could not do so here. Fang Chen's actions attracted the attention of countless people. Even Wang Teng of the Fire Tribe's Wang family and the scholar of the Taishen sect were watching the show with interest. As for the other 8 VIP rooms, only 3 of them scolded Fang Chen. Their identities were also guessed. They were all forces under the Great Snow Mountain. As for the other 5 VIP rooms, they remained silent. Of course, it didn't take long for everyone's attention to shift from Fang Chen to the auction items. By now, the auction was nearing its end. Every auction item was extremely important and could cause countless people to go crazy over it. Next up is the third last item of the auction. The beautiful MC smiled as she introduced the item on the stage. It was a broken sword stained with blood. The moment the crowd saw the blood-stained broken sword, they felt a terrifying murderous aura rushing towards them. What a strong evil aura. This broken sword must have been nurtured by mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Unfortunately, it's a broken sword. If it was a perfect sword, it would definitely cause a commotion. This broken sword has flaws. It can't be used as a weapon. Its value will drop a lot. After a short moment of shock, the crowd discussed. Although the broken sword had a strong evil aura, it was not enough to make the crowd go crazy. However, the MC's next words caused the entire auction house to boil. This broken sword seems to have come from the distant battle of gods. The appraiser of the profound dragon pavilion personally examined it and finally determined that this broken sword is related to a relic. As soon as she said this, the entire auction house was shaken. Battle of gods. Even Fang Chen was stunned. He frowned and looked through the window to inspect the broken sword. Obviously, the people of the source world had also heard of the Battle of Gods. However, they seemed to have misunderstood it. Or perhaps the devouring demon clan's leader, who had planned the Battle of Gods, deliberately misled the later generations and distorted their understanding of the Battle of Gods. Countless voices came from the auction house. The blood-stained broken sword evoked their dusty memories. Although no one here had experienced that era, based on the ancient books and the information released by the devouring demon clan, the so-called Battle of Godfall was caused by the demon faction's attack on the Origin Realm. They wanted to destroy the Origin Realm, but in the end, the devouring demon clan retaliated. Countless Saint Realm cultivators died in that battle, which was why it was called the Battle of Godfall. The demon devourers swore to protect the Origin Realm and annihilated the entire demon faction. This is how the people of the Origin Realm view the Battle of Godfall. However, little did they know that the primal Chaos Realm was the victim. Of course, all of this was useless. As long as the Chaos Realm was strong enough to suppress the Origin world, then the truth would be revealed. Is it related to the Battle of Godfall? Fang Chen was observing carefully. The beautiful MC on the stage spoke frankly as well. She briefly described the Battle of Godfall before continuing. All those years ago, the Sword Saint of the Void from our Origin world, who was known as the number one in the way of the sword, perished in the Battle of Godfall. It's very likely that this broken sword was his sword all those years ago. Boom. The atmosphere in the auction reached its peak. Gosh, the Sword Saint of the Void. The number one in the way of the sword back then. Is this his sword? If it's really the sword of the Sword Saint of the Void, then it's a little unbelievable. Of course, there were also some people who thought that the profound dragon pavilion was deliberately mystifying things. What kind of joke was this? Even if the Sword Saint of the Void had died in the Battle of Gods, the power of his sword was unimaginably great. How could it have fallen into the hands of the profound dragon pavilion? Let the auction begin. After the introduction, the beautiful MC thought that the atmosphere was right, so she directly started the auction. The excited crowd madly bid. In just a few seconds, the price had risen to 100 elementary sacred weapons. Seeing this, the beautiful MC was overjoyed. I'll bid 200 items. A voice was heard from the third VIP room, causing the entire place to fall silent instantly. Everyone was moved. 200 elementary saint-level weapons were almost equal to a high-level saint-level weapon. What kind of background did the person in VIP room number 3 have? Wasn't he a little too generous? Since it's related to the Sword Saint of the Void, I'll take it back and study it. I'll bid 500. The person in VIP room 5 increased the price by 2.5 times. Ph, a bunch of idiots. This is obviously a publicity stunt from the profound dragon pavilion. A disdainful voice came from VIP room 4. However, this didn't change the battle between the two VIP rooms. I'll bid 600. The person in VIP room 3 increased the price again. However, it wasn't as exaggerated as before. He only increased the price by 100. 1,000. The voice in VIP room 5 was very calm, but it shocked everyone. The scholar squinted his eyes. Who was the person in VIP room 5? Could this broken sword really be related to the Sword Saint of the Void? If it was only one person bidding, he wouldn't have guessed. However, 2 people were bidding at the same time. Moreover, they were bidding so crazily. This was something that needed to be discussed. Wang Teng of the Fire Tribe's Wang family was also inquiring about the identity of the person in VIP room 5. In VIP room 9, Fang Chen suddenly opened his eyes. He sensed a faint trace of qi on the broken sword. This qi was very hidden. If he hadn't received the inheritance of Fu Jian, he wouldn't have been able to sense it. Supreme Fu Jian? Fang Chen was a bit shocked. His eyes were burning and his heart was beating faster. Why did the broken sword have Supreme Fu Jian's aura? Could it be that the people in Profound Dragon Pavilion were telling the truth? Was it the weapon of the Sword Saint of the Void from the devouring demon clan of the Source World? Had the Sword Saint of the Void fought with Fu Jian back then? If that was true, then everything made sense. In the auction house, some people also asked the strong cultivators of the devouring demon clan. After all, the Sword Saint of the Void was from the devouring demon clan. Brother Mo, the Sword Saint of the Void is a strong cultivator of your clan. Can you recognize this sword? Someone asked. The devouring demon clan member shook his head. The Sword Saint of the Void was a very ancient strong cultivator. They had never seen him before. They had only heard about him in legends. However, the devouring demon clan member was sure that the blood on the broken sword belonged to the devouring demon clan. VIP room 3 remained silent for a long time. In the end, he raised the price again. 1,100, 2,000. The person in VIP room 5 seemed determined to get the broken sword. He didn't care about the price at all. He easily raised the price to a level that ordinary people couldn't compete with. Are you crazy? You're bidding 2,000 basic level weapons for a broken sword that we don't even know if it's related to the Sword Saint of the Void. The person in VIP room 3 couldn't help it anymore. End of chapter. Wonderful book room. Chapter 3983. For a broken sword that might have something to do with the Sword Saint of the Void, it was crazy to bid such a high price. However, from the beginning to the end, other than bidding, the person in VIP room number 5 did not say a single word. It was as if the saint-level weapon was worthless to him. Furthermore, he also displayed his determination to the crowd. He was determined to obtain this blood-stained broken sword. The owner of the third VIP room remained silent for a while and gave up in the end. Everyone felt a bit regretful. They had thought that it would be a fierce battle. They hadn't expected the owner of the third private room to give up on bidding. But that was within their expectations. After all, that was 2,000 saint-grade weapons. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to take out such a high price. Interesting. The scholar in the corner narrowed his eyes and murmured to himself. Wang Teng from the Wang family of the Fire Tribe was also paying close attention to the owner of the fifth VIP room. According to his guess, the owner of the fifth VIP room should be from one of those forces. The owner of the fifth VIP room has bid 2,000. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? The beautiful host on the stage smiled and asked. At the same time, she was trying her best to make more people participate in the auction. However, the owner of the fifth VIP room had bid too high. In the end, the beautiful host had no choice but to start counting. 2,000, once. 2,000, twice. Just as she reluctantly called out 2,000 pieces 3 times, a voice suddenly interrupted her. 2,100. The atmosphere of the entire auction house was ignited. Everyone's eyes fell on the 9th VIP room. Because the voice came from the 9th VIP room. What? The owner of the 9th VIP room has bid. Oh my God, who are the people who are participating in the auction this time? Within the auction house, there was a constant clamor. The beautiful hostess on the stage was secretly delighted. She didn't expect that at the last moment, someone would actually make a bid. She hurriedly said, "The guest in VIP room 9 bids 2,100 items." As expected. Just as everyone had expected, a calm voice came from the number 5 VIP room again, directly raising the price to 3,000 pieces. 3,100. Fang Chen raised the price by 100 each time. However, the owner of the 5th VIP room didn't care. He raised the price by a whole number each time. 4,000 pieces, the owner of VIP room number 5 said. Fang Chen continued to raise the price by 100 pieces. At this time, the owner of VIP room 5 didn't hurry to raise the price. Instead, he fell silent. Everyone guessed that this price should be the limit of the owner of VIP Room 5. After a long time, I am the fifth elder of the Great Snow Mountain. If you give this to me, I will owe you a favor. The words caused an uproar among the crowd. The fifth elder of the Great Snow Mountain had actually come to participate in the auction and was even fighting over this blood-stained broken sword. Could this blood-stained broken sword really be related to the Sword Saint of the Void? For a moment, everyone's hearts were in turmoil. However, their gazes shifted back and forth between VIP rooms 5 and 9. Since the Great Snowy Mountain's fifth elder had already stated his identity, the owner of VIP Room 9 would not continue to increase the price. After all, the other party had already made their status clear. If they continued to raise the price, it would be a slap in the face. In this territory, there was probably no one who dared to not give face to the Great Snow Mountain. Moreover, he was the fifth elder of the Great Snow Mountain. His position was high and his favor was priceless. Sorry, I also want it. We can only rely on our own abilities. Fang Chen shook his head and decisively refused. Just as he finished speaking, a gloomy voice came from VIP Room 5. It was obvious that the fifth elder of the Great Snow Mountain was angry. Are you going to fight with me to the end? As he spoke, the fifth elder directly raised the price to 5,000 pieces. This was his limit. In the VIP room, his eyes were scarlet as he stared at the blood-stained broken sword on the stage. He wanted it very much, but the price was too high. Moreover, the other party was obviously not buying it. Who exactly is it that dares to provoke the Great Snow Mountain? The fifth elder said gloomily. 5,100 pieces. Fang Chen raised the price again. This time, the fifth elder directly gave up. In the end, after a fierce competition, the blood-stained broken sword was obtained by Fang Chen. Good, very good. I hope we can meet in the future. In VIP Room 5, the fifth elder's extremely dissatisfied voice came from VIP Room 5. At this time, there were also voices of doubt coming from other VIP rooms. They were supporting the fifth elder of the Great Snow Mountain. The mysterious dragon auction has rules. You can't just randomly bid. Once you bid, you have to pay. I don't believe that you can take out 5,100 elementary saint-level weapons. Stop pretending to be mysterious. If you have the ability, then reveal your identity. Let us see if you have the ability to bid. I think you're here to cause trouble. I beg the mysterious dragon pavilion to kick out the person who is disrupting the auction. The Great Snow Mountain was the overlord of this area and had countless subordinate forces. After many people found out the identity of the owner of VIP Room 5, they were all shocked and rushed to befriend him. Boom! The scholar did not say anything and punched out. A vast fist light pierced through the sky and directly bombarded VIP Room 9. Immediately, the entire auction house shook. Are you sure you can take the blood-stained broken sword? As he spoke, the scholar stood up. Many people realized that the scholar, the chief disciple of the Taishen sect, had also arrived. No wonder he directly attacked. The fifth elder of the Great Snow Mountain was very satisfied with the scholar's performance. You're not bad. After the auction is over, let's talk. Hearing this, the scholar was overjoyed. Wang Teng of the Fire Tribe's Wang family wanted to attack, but in the end, he gave up. The owner of VIP Room 9 clearly knew the scholar's identity and still dared to go against him. He must have a powerful background. It was better not to provoke him. The mysterious Dragon Pavilion's auction prohibited anyone from speaking out of place. This made the beautiful MC's expression on the stage gradually become serious. The second elder in charge of the VIP rooms snorted coldly. Although he was extremely dissatisfied with Fang Chen, under the watchful eyes of the crowd, he could only brace himself and scold the scholar to maintain order. Yes, the second elder said. He's right. During the auction, no one is allowed to fight. Even if you're the chief disciple of the Taishen sect, you can't break the rules. The scholar coldly glanced at the second elder and returned to his seat. After Deacon Bai knew what had happened, he immediately reported it to the first elder. The latter frowned and then sent a message to the second elder. No matter what, The reputation of the mysterious dragon auction could not be damaged. Otherwise, the brand that the mysterious dragon pavilion had painstakingly built over the years would completely collapse. Div. Chapter 3984. Even though the owner of VIP room number 5 had stated his identity as the fifth elder from the Great Snow Mountain, it was of no use. Fang Chen was not afraid of his identity. Besides, he was also very interested in the blood-stained broken sword. 5,100 saint-level weapons might be a large number to others, but to Fang Chen, it was a piece of cake. After all, he had been in the Cliff of Death for hundreds of years and had collected countless broken saint-level weapons. Even if some of the saint-level weapons were broken, they were still of high quality and could be compared to many low-level saint-level weapons. Therefore, Fang Chen was not afraid at all. Originally, the scholar from the Taishen sect wanted to show off in front of the fifth elder of the Great Snow Mountain. However, after the second elder of the Shen Dragon Pavilion spoke, the auction house quieted down again. Many people had bad intentions towards the owner of VIP room number 9, but they did not show it. Humph, when the auction is over, I want to see who you are. The fifth elder of the Great Snow Mountain snorted coldly and did not say anything else. The beautiful MC on the stage had a smile on her face. The fact that the blood-stained broken sword could be auctioned off at a high price of 5,100 pieces was simply a surprise to her. However, this also confirmed that the experts participating in this auction were all wealthy. Perhaps the final items would be auctioned off at an even higher price. The second last item was a map left behind by a strong cultivator from the Devouring Demon clan. It recorded his life's inheritance. The moment the auction started, the people from the Devouring Demon clan started bidding wildly. They were determined to get the map. The other forces did not participate in the auction. After all, this was a map exclusive to the Devouring Demon clan. Only the pure bloodline of the Devouring Demon clan could open it. Even if the others obtained it, they would not be able to explore the mysteries of the map. This allowed the people from the Devouring Demon clan to obtain the map at a very low price. The beautiful MC on the stage kept looking at VIP room number 9, hoping that he would bid. However, she was disappointed. From the beginning to the end, the owner of VIP room number 9 did not bid once. It was as if the map did not attract him at all. The scholar in the corner also glanced at VIP room number 9. Wang Ting from the Wang family of the Fire Tribe was also watching. After all, the factions behind them were affiliated with the Great Snow Mountain. This person had offended the Great Snow Mountain's fifth elder, giving them a chance to show off. Fang Chen remained silent in private room number 9. He was still pondering why there was the aura of the origin world on the blood-stained broken sword. Although it was very faint, he still managed to capture it. He guessed that the sword saint of the void, whose name had shaken the world, had been killed by an expert from the origin world. He forcefully shook his head and collected his thoughts. Since he couldn't figure it out for now, he might as well research it after he obtained the blood-stained broken sword. His gaze landed on the mottled map on the stage. It can only be opened with the exclusive blood of the Devouring Demon clan. It's obviously left for the descendants of the Devouring Demon clan. It's useless even if we get it. Fang Chen shook his head and gave up on bidding. Soon, the map was swallowed. After the devil race expert won the bid, everyone's emotions were stirred up once more. They were all waiting for the final item of the auction. The finale of every auction is always shocking. I wonder what will appear this time. I heard that it might have something to do with Ji Zun. How is that possible? Would they be willing to auction off something related to Ji Zun? I think it should be some supreme weapon. Many people were guessing. Even Fang Chen was curious. He had bid a few times in this auction. He had bid for the Heavenly Source Stone related to Emperor Roth and the blood-stained broken sword related to the Sword Saint of the Void. He wondered what the final item would be. Under everyone's gaze, the staff carried a tray and slowly walked onto the stage. The beautiful MC pulled off the red cloth that covered the tray. Instantly, a little mouse fossil appeared in front of everyone's eyes. This little mouse fossil. Judging from the marks and patterns on its surface, it should be from a very long time ago. The crowd was puzzled. Why would a little mouse fossil be put up for auction? Everyone, don't underestimate this fossil. The beautiful MC on the stage introduced it with a smile. Just as everyone had guessed, this fossil was indeed related to Jizun. When the profound dragon pavilion obtained this fossil, they were also shocked. They had been studying it for a long time. However, after thousands of years, they were still unable to decipher its mysteries. In the end, after a discussion among the upper echelons, they decided to sell it. If they kept it, it would always be a fossil. However, if they sold it, it could be exchanged for endless wealth for the profound dragon pavilion. It might even be able to bring the profound dragon pavilion to a higher level. Therefore, the little mouse fossil became the final item of this auction. I believe everyone has seen it. This little mouse fossil is extremely extraordinary. The beautiful MC said, for it to be used as the final item of this auction, it is enough to prove its value. After saying that, she raised her hand and slowly swept it across the stage. She said, "Your guess is correct. This fossil is related to Jizun." As soon as she said that, the entire auction house went into an uproar. Such an inconspicuous stone was related to Jizun? What kind of joke was this? Are you joking? Do you think we are fools? That's right. Although the patterns on a fossil are complicated, it is impossible for it to be related to Jizun. That's right. You are willing to auction something related to Jizun? Obviously, many people did not believe it. Even the scholar and Wang Ting shook their heads. If it was really related to Jizun, they would be able to tell at a glance. Everyone, be quiet. The beautiful MC waved her hand to signal everyone to be quiet. At the same time, her finger gently tapped on the eyes of the little mouse fossil. Immediately, the little mouse fossil emitted a gentle light from its body, activating all the patterns. With the fossil as the center, the lines intersected one by one. In an instant, the aura that it exuded left everyone astonished. Because it was the aura of a Jizun. What? The aura of a Jizun? Everyone was stunned. Could it be that this little mouse fossil was really related to Jizun? The beautiful MC's next words ignited the atmosphere of the auction house. Perhaps everyone has read the unofficial history and heard that in the history of the devouring devil clan, there was a Jizun of the rat clan. The beautiful MC said, this fossil was left behind by the Jizun of the rat clan. It contains his life's work. However, because the Jizun's methods are too strong, it is very difficult to decipher. Hence, the mysterious dragon pavilion decided to auction it. Boom! The auction house was in an uproar. A fossil left behind by the Jizun of the rat clan? Everyone was dumbfounded. They really felt a strong Jizun's aura. Now, everyone believed that this fossil was really related to the Jizun of the rat clan. End of chapter. Chapter 3985. No one would have thought that the second last item would be a fossil of the little mouse. Moreover, it was related to a supreme of the mouse clan. Everyone was stunned. However, they soon began to use various special methods to investigate the little mouse fossil. After all, they could not just hear the profound dragon pavilion side of the story. If it was really related to the supreme of the mouse clan, it would definitely cause an uproar. Many people would fight for it at all costs. Even the owners of VIP rooms 1 and 2, who had been silent all this time, let out a soft sound of surprise. Obviously, the little mouse fossil had attracted their attention. For a moment, the auction house was in an uproar. On the top floor, the first elder had been paying attention to the situation in the auction house. At the same time, he was constantly reporting to the profound dragon pavilion master. Pavilion master, the little mouse fossil has already been auctioned, the first elder reported. The profound dragon pavilion master nodded. There was a trace of worry between his brows. He seemed to be worried about something. All right, continue to pay attention. He walked to the window and looked into the distance. He was praying in his heart. I hope there won't be any problems. Otherwise, my profound dragon pavilion will offend many top forces. A great disaster will befall us. In fact, only the profound dragon pavilion master knew that the little mouse fossil had nothing to do with the supreme of the mouse clan. It was just an ordinary stone. In the beginning, There was no such stone in their auction plan. However, after the appearance of that mysterious expert, the plan changed. Including the stone related to the Fury Emperor and this little mouse fossil, they were all left behind by that mysterious expert. Moreover, the way the auction was conducted, as well as the introduction, were all according to the requirements of that mysterious expert. Originally, the profound Dragon Pavilion Master wanted to refuse because it was a lie. Once it was exposed, it would cause public anger. However, that mysterious expert displayed an extremely powerful strength. With a flip of his hand, he could destroy the world. The profound Dragon Pavilion Master was forced to agree. Of course, other than that, the profound Dragon Pavilion Master also obtained many unexpected cultivation resources. In short, since things had already come to this point, they could only continue. That mysterious expert had said that the little mouse fossil was born in the place where the Supreme had fallen. Although it had nothing to do with the Supreme, it had a trace of the Supreme's aura. It could conceal itself from the world. Saint Realm experts would not be able to discover it. This was indeed the case. In the auction house, the sound of bidding was endless. Everyone's eyes were bloodshot. They were all bidding crazily, trying to snatch the little mouse's fossil. The rat tribe sovereign is a senior of the demon-devouring clan. Any fossil related to him naturally belongs to the demon-devouring clan. At this time, the experts of the devouring demon tribe wanted to use their power to suppress the other forces. They hoped that the other forces would stop bidding and give the fossil to them. However, this matter concerned everyone's cultivation. Whether or not they would be able to touch the threshold of being a supreme being, everyone was in a frenzy. Who would pay attention to the devouring demon clan? If you want the fossil, sure. Just name the price. I'll offer 5,000. ChMPH, 5,000 fossils related to the rat race's sovereign. That's simply an insult to the sovereign. I'll offer 10,000. A voice from the second VIP room caused the entire auction house to fall silent. Everyone was stunned. To suddenly increase the price to 10,000 elementary saint weapons, just where did this person come from? Who is the person in VIP room 2? Gosh, increasing the price to 10,000 in one go. Isn't this too exaggerated? In this area, only the Great Snow Mountain can take out so many saint weapons. Could this person be from the Great Snow Mountain too? Everyone was guessing. Only the Great Snow Mountain could be so wealthy. However, after thinking about it carefully, the owner of VIP Room 5 was the fifth elder of the Great Snow Mountain. If the owner of VIP Room 2 was also from the Great Snow Mountain, they should know each other. There was no need to compete with each other, right? However, the owner of VIP Room 5 did not seem to know the owner of VIP Room 2 at all. After the owner of VIP Room 2 made his bid, he increased the price without hesitation. 15,000. The owner of VIP Room 1 also started to bid. Everyone's hearts were in turmoil. The bidding had just begun. Were the bids already so ridiculous? From this moment on, many ordinary warriors had already lost the ability to bid. They could only watch the experts in the VIP rooms fight it out. 20,000. The person who spoke was Fang Chen. He stared at the little mouse fossil for a long time and sensed a trace of the sovereign's aura on it. This fossil should have nothing to do with the sovereign of the mouse clan. It only has a trace of the sovereign's aura. Even so, it is still very precious. He thought of his good brother in the primal chaos realm, the little mouse. Its original form was a divine sky-devouring mouse that could devour all things in the world. It had once followed him on expeditions all over the world. It was only when he reincarnated into the origin world to save the primal chaos realm that they separated. There was no need to doubt the little mouse's potential. However, after reaching a certain level of cultivation, one would reach a bottleneck. Although this fossil could not allow the little mouse to reach the utmost exalted realm, it could allow it to touch the threshold of utmost exalted. To cultivators, this was extremely important. Since ancient times, countless experts had tried to touch the threshold of the sovereign realm but failed. In the end, they could not withstand the erosion of time and turned into a pile of dust. There was nothing else he could do. He could only do his best to protect the people he wanted to protect. After all, he had obtained too many saint-level weapons in the Cliff of Death. In terms of wealth, he was not inferior to anyone present. Therefore, he directly raised the price to 20,000. This price scared off many people. At least the scholar of the Taishan sect and Wang Teng of the Wang family of the Fire tribe gave up directly. Although they were unwilling, they had no choice. Even with the power of the entire sect, they could not afford so many saint-level weapons. Moreover, they were only the best of the younger generation. They were not qualified to control the resources of the entire sect. It's the 9th VIP room again. Many people were in an uproar. They stared at the 9th VIP room, wanting to know who this person was. No one dared to bid for the stone related to Emperor Roth, but he had won it. The 5th elder of the Great Snow Mountain had stated his identity and wanted the blood-stained broken sword related to the Sword Saint of the Void. However, he had not given him any face and had won it directly. Now, he also wanted to compete for the fossil related to the sovereign of the Mouse Clan. Did he have so much wealth? Even the people of the Great Snow Mountain might not dare to do this. Who is he? The 2nd elder of the Shenlong Pavilion, who was in charge of the VIP rooms, narrowed his eyes. He had a complicated expression. Because of Deacon Bai, he had been intentionally or unintentionally targeting the 9th VIP room. However, at this moment, the wealth displayed by the owner of the 9th VIP room terrified him. A person who could take out so many saint-level weapons was definitely an overlord. He could destroy the world with a smile. He was a true expert. Primordial Sword Lord. Chapter 3986. The little mouse fossil was of great importance. At this time, most people had stopped bidding. Only a few people were still bidding. But those who bid were basically people from the VIP rooms. The owner of the 2nd VIP room bid 10,000 pieces, but Fang Chen immediately increased the bid to 20,000 pieces. Everyone was shocked. Just who was the owner of the 9th VIP room? He bid so much in one breath. It was simply shocking. Many people were whispering. As for the 2nd elder in charge of the VIP rooms, he was already stunned. He would never have dreamed that the mysterious person who had been targeting Deacon Bai would dare to bid 20,000 elementary saint-level weapons. Although they were only elementary saint-level weapons, ordinary people could not afford them. Even the 5th elder of the Great Snow Mountain in VIP room number 5 was silent, because even he could not bring out so many saint-level weapons. Is it someone from the Great Snow Mountain? Many people were guessing. In this area, it was impossible for anyone to take out so many saint-level weapons except for the Great Snow Mountain. The Taishan sect could not do it, and the Wang family of the Hu tribe could not do it. It's not possible. If it's someone from the Great Snow Mountain, the 5th elder should know. But if it's not someone from the Great Snow Mountain, tell me, who else can take out so many saint-level weapons? 20,000 elementary saint-level weapons. This price was far beyond everyone's expectations. The owners of the other VIP rooms gave up one after another. Only the owner of VIP room 2 was still struggling in his heart. PH, I bid 21,000. After a long silence, the owner of VIP room 2 called out a price of 21,000 pieces. Everyone knew that this was the limit of the owner of VIP room 2. If he bid any more, he would probably give up. 30,000, Fang Chen was determined to obtain this fossil. Although he had no use for it, his good brother, the little rat, could use it. One had to know that it was a heaven-devouring divine rat, a unique life form in the universe. Now, it was stuck at a bottleneck and could not break through. If it could get this mouse fossil, its strength would definitely reach a new level. That was his good brother who had followed him since childhood. No matter what, he had to get this fossil. To Fang Chen, the value of a fossil far exceeded that of a saint-level weapon. In any case, he had obtained countless saint-grade weapons in the few hundred years he had spent in the Death Cliff. Although most of them were damaged, their value was immeasurable. A mere 30,000 saint-grade weapons were not worth mentioning to him. However, his bid this time caused the entire auction house to fall into a dead silence. Everyone stared dumbfoundedly at VIP room number 9. Even the beautiful MC on the stage had her mouth wide open. Her heart was in turmoil. Heavens, who is this guy? This deathly stillness lasted for a few seconds. The noise broke the silence in the auction house. Everyone was even more curious about the identity of the owner of VIP room number 9. Who is he? The head disciple of the Taishen sect, the scholar, narrowed his eyes as memories flashed through his mind. On the other side, Wang Teng of the Wang family of the Fire tribe also stood up. His body was trembling. If no one is going to bid, should we announce it? After waiting for a long time, the owner of VIP room number 2 did not speak. At this time, Fang Chen urged. The beautiful MC on the stage was stunned. Only then did she wake up and hurriedly said with a smile, "Everyone, the owner of VIP room number 9 has bid 30,000 Saint-grade weapons. Are there any other VIPs who want to bid?" She looked around with her beautiful eyes. No one spoke. In the end, she looked at VIP room number 2. But to her disappointment, the owner of VIP room number 2 seemed to have given up. 30,000 going once. If no one increased the price 3 times in a row, the fossil would belong to Fang Chen. As a member of the mysterious Dragon Pavilion, the beautiful MC naturally hoped that the higher the price, the better. This way, her commission would be higher. But now that the owner of VIP room had given up, it was impossible for others to do so. 30,000 going twice. 30,000, however, just as she was about to auction the mallet under the bridge, a voice from VIP room number 2 suddenly stopped her. "May I ask who you are?" The owner of VIP room number 2 seemed to be very unwilling. Although he did not increase the price, he wanted to know who exactly was the person who stopped him from bidding for the rat tribe fossil. Yi Futian had been cultivating for countless years and roamed the world for so many years, but he had never heard of such a rich and overbearing person. If Yi Futian had come on behalf of the Great Snow Mountain, Yi Futian would have nothing to say. However, if Yi Futian had come alone, Yi Futian would not be satisfied. Fang Chen ignored him. To him, all he needed to do was win the bid for the fossil. Nothing else mattered. However, the owner of VIP room number 2 did not give up and said, "In this area, I can't think of anyone who has the guts to not give face to me, the Celestial Demon Rat King." Celestial Demon Rat King. These words caused everyone's expression to change greatly. What? The owner of VIP room number 2 is the Celestial Demon Rat King? Is that the Celestial Demon Rat King that sneaked into the Great Snow Mountain to steal treasures for 3 years? Oh my God, that fella is here. Many people could not help but tremble. An angry roar could be heard from VIP room number 5. Apparently, the Great Snow Mountain and the Celestial Demon Rat King were irreconcilable enemies. Others were anxiously checking their storage pouches to see if they were missing anything. The second elder's face was pale and his forehead was full of black lines. He quickly reported the news to his superiors. He was in charge of the VIP room, but the Celestial Demon Rat King had concealed his identity. He did not expect this to happen. Quickly go and check if anything is missing from the profound Dragon Pavilion. After the Great Elder received the news, he immediately issued an order to guard against the Celestial Demon Rat King. From this, one could see how famous the Celestial Demon Rat King was. The Celestial Demon Rat King once called himself the Thief Saint and even said that there was nothing in the world that he could not steal. The Great Snow Mountain did not believe him. What happened after that was known to everyone. For 3 years, the Celestial Demon Rat King had sneaked into the Great Snow Mountain to steal treasures. Most importantly, he managed to escape unscathed. This time, the Celestial Demon Rat King dared to come to the profound Dragon Pavilion to participate in the auction. He simply did not put the Great Snow Mountain in his eyes. Celestial Demon Rat King, you still dare to appear here? Finally, the Great Snow Mountain's 5th elder could not take it anymore and roared. If it wasn't for the auction, he would have already taken action. I, the Celestial Demon Rat King, am not afraid of anyone. The Celestial Demon Rat King said disdainfully. He ignored the Great Snow Mountain's 5th elder and shouted to VIP room number 9. "Give me the fossil, and I'll get you whatever you want." End of chapter.